at the Masters. Coverage live right now on ESPN and ESPN+. Victor Hovland is the leader right now at 7 under par. He's 2 shots ahead of Xander Schauffele, Adam Scott, and John Rahm. Tiger Woods won over for his round after back-to-back birdies on 15 and 16. But ESPN's Michael Collins says it's hard to imagine Woods being a contender from now on.
It's going to be a tough road. Because for him, it's all about stamina, and it's not even about, stamina as far as physical fitness stamina. It's stamina of that damaged leg.
Michael Collins on KJ and Max. The New York Jets add a former Packers quarterback to the roster today. No, not that former Packers quarterback. Tim Boyle signs a 1-year deal. The trade talks continue on Aaron Rodgers. The Mavericks lose their protest of a loss 2 weeks ago against the Warriors. Dallas filed the protest claiming the game officials did not properly administer an out-of-bounds call.
Do you own or rent your home? Sure you do. Fortunately, Geico makes it easy to bundle your home and car insurance. It's a good thing, too, because having a home is hard work. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. Geico.com. Easy.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, cash. That's cash. Enter it now.
Log on now to espnavl.com. In the heart of Beer City, USA, 2 men, 1 journey to create a sports show unlike any other. Unfiltered, raw, and honest. One of them played a soccer goalie opposite Ben Stiller. The other once scored 6 points on Steph Curry. These guys know their shit. Let's go! Tank Spencer, Jeremy Greene, The Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets. Low prices, love the savings. And Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
It is the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM and 1400. The Sportsocracy heard everywhere around the world on the iHeartRadio app, and we're seen everywhere on YouTube. Go to thesportsocracy.com. Click on that live video link. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to join us in the chat.
Hello, friends.
It's Masters Thursday.
Live from Butler Cabin. This is one of my favorite days of the year.
We're all getting wrapped up into the start of the 2023 Masters. You got Victor Hovland. I mean, he's doing stuff.
You know, I think I remember a mullet guy telling you I like him a lot. Now, you know what I don't like? His shirt. Because that is an assault on my eyeballs.
It is indeed. It looks like something your grandma would have brought back from Hawaii.
I'm pretty sure that was actually the print of my grandmother's couch while I was growing up. I think I've slept on that print before.
1970s pink floral print. Love it. So awesome. It is a Masters Thursday here in the Sportsocracy. Thanks, everybody, for joining us once again after our day off yesterday due to Braves baseball. Now, it is Masters opening round. We've got draft stuff to talk about. We've got rumors galore.
We got some draft bangers.
Man, the top of the draft could have an unexpected shakeup. TYREEK HILL says he's going to be done in 2 years. We got the Raiders, the Bears, and the Cardinals, all team draft needs that we're going to be covering each hour of the program today. We'll have a daily draft at the top of the 3rd hour. It's just all things are going on.
And the New York Jets officially have a former Green Bay Packers quarterback in the building. Tim Boyle, let's go.
So you got
That's
the backup.
not the one I wanted.
You got the offensive coordinator. Now we just need to nail down that one.
That's not the one I wanted, okay? So conversation probation stays in effect.
Yes. Oh, where is Captain Ayahuasca? Masters today, the biggest news of the day, Will Zalatoris withdrawing just before his afternoon tee time. Apparently the back injury that he's been going through for the last year or so is not getting better, so he had to withdraw.
Kevin Na did as well with a DNP bad.
Kevin Na got 10 holes into it and went, I'm too sick. I gotta go home.
I have to go potty now.
And then that led to one of the weirdest things that's ever happened at the Masters. Mike Weir had to play the most of the back nine by himself.
Yes.
It was him and Kevin Na, and then Na withdraws, and then Mike Weir's like, well, it's just me now.
And
he opened the right, so he had nobody in front of. Like he's the start of the parade here. And he said throughout the 9 holes or whatever, he had to keep telling himself not to go too fast. He ended up doing his first round in like 3 hours and 40 minutes, which is apparently close to a record.
Oh yeah, I mean when you play golf by yourself, you shouldn't do that because it's not nearly as fun. This is a tandem game, but you will play very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I think the last 18 holes I played by myself, I did it in 2 hours and 20 minutes.
There you go.
I play fast anyway. I grew up with a very simple adage that my grandfather taught me. You can suck at this game. Just do it quickly.
Just do it quickly.
Nobody wants to watch the guy that lines up and just 8 practice swings and starts with the wind is, we're all good, and hit it behind him. There you go.
So no Bryson DeChambeau.
No, we don't want. You could look. We all know you're not good at this game because there's very few of us that are. Just maybe we go a little faster.
Yeah, the only cue Jeremy took for his golf game from Bryson was hit it pretty damn far.
Yes.
And when are you one of those like you hit it real far, you get it close, and then you go, that's close enough. I'll take a 4.
There's an 8.
I'm taking a 4.
There's an 8-foot circle around every golf hole. You get it in that general vicinity, and that's
we call that good.
That's gentleman's good. No, I'm one of those that
I don't think they have 9-foot gimmies. I don't think that's a thing.
What are you, cop? See, I'm one of those. Asheville Police Chief David Zach and Newsno Mark Starling are 2 of my favorite people to play golf with. And Chief Zach's got a nice driver.
Okay.
You know, it's straight and it goes pretty far. But then I step up there.
A lot of power in that little frame.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Chief Zach's got a ton of power.
Okay.
It's not what mine is. And it makes him so angry. And there is nothing funnier to me than that look of, you just are really starting to perturb me. But then again, it could wind up in the fairway or it could be in somebody's yard.
Mm-hmm.
So you never know. That's the fun of playing golf with Jeremy.
All right. Masters has opened up in Augusta. It's good weather today. Not going to be the same tomorrow or Saturday. Sunday should be okay in the afternoon.
Oh, Sunday's going to be beautiful.
I thought I read that it was going to start out a little cloudy, overcast, some showers, and then in the afternoon it was going to get better.
Look, according to AccuWeather, everything that you will physically see on television will be just fine.
Okay, all right. Well, that's a positive. It depends on what happens tomorrow and Saturday as to whether or not they can finish this thing on time, but they will more than likely get it in, I will imagine. Victor Hovland leads at the Masters, 7 under par through 17 holes. Adam Scott and John Rahm are tied for second at 5 under par.
John Rahm's 6 under par. He's in second by himself. He's had the weirdest day I've ever seen in my life because he 4-putted number 1, double bogey, and now he's in second, 6 under. That is one whale of a turnaround.
That is quite a turnaround. All right, you obviously have a more updated scoreboard than I do here.
I'm pretty dialed in
because it's still showing me John Rahm and Adam Scott at 5 under.
Well, your computer also still runs Windows 95.
It does.
None of my devices do that.
It also has at the moment a group of guys at 4 under, and I think each and every one of them, save for one, we talked about yesterday or day before yesterday when we were giving you the tips. You got Shane Lowry, Xander Schauffele, Cameron Young, Sam Burns. We talked about all of those. The one guy that we haven't talked about that's had a good tournament so far is Brooks Koepka.
And give it time.
He'll blow up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Here's the thing. When you swing as hard as he does and you've got a knee and a back and all of these things, you give that about 36 holes, starting to get a little tight. Start pouring them in the water.
Brooks was the perennial contender before the big injury, and then he struggled as of late, and then he jumped over to the LIV, and now maybe it's time. Maybe this is his opportunity to plant himself back in the talk of one of the greatest golfers in the world at the moment.
Well, look, we're an ESPN affiliate, and they've been covering the early part I do love this narrative that the live guys are on that other tour. This is starting to feel like pro wrestling where there's certain words that you can't say. You can't say that it's scripted. We all know that, okay? Okay. But some of these live guys are still good. It's just you play on a tour that's really stupid.
Yeah, that nobody watches.
Yeah.
Nobody watches and nobody
More people
cares.
watch reruns of One Tree Hill on the CW than they do live golf.
Right. Maybe you need to go back to the more focus on the individual golfer rather than the team stuff. Maybe that would draw people back to LIV. I don't know. Anyway, it's the Masters. Why the hell are we talking about the LIV?
No clue. ESPN's been doing it all day long.
Yeah. Anyway, Brooks Koepka, maybe this is a return for him.
And a narrative. I'm just telling you. Okay? You told me I was crazy when I told you this a couple days ago. Look who that is at 2 under. That's old lefty, old Phil Mickelson.
I don't remember you saying that.
100% I said that because he was 6,400 on DraftKings, and I went, oh, you mean he's $200 more than Larry Mize, who I'm pretty sure is as old as the floral print on Victor Hovland's shirt? Yeah, I'm not telling him I'm going to do it. I'm going to have a share or two of it, and I do. Now, he will fade off into the ether, too, because he's bad. But if he makes the cut, then you're in pretty good shape.
We got to take your hat off for the start to the Masters for amateur Sam Bennett.
400 through 6. Let's go.
There you go. That's a hell of a way to start a Masters here. He birdied the first hole and had an eagle on 2, and then just birdied 6.
Yep.
So,
look, this is one of my favorite days of the year.
So awesome.
I've been sitting at my desk watching golf all day, which is so good. And I heard there was, I can't remember the guy's name. They called him Sully or something like that. It was some golf analyst that has a podcast because, well, everybody does. And that won't be the last mention of a podcast before this show's over. But he was talking about the difference in golf. And he said something in a way that I've never heard before, and now I can unsee it. There's 2 levels of golf. There is major golf, which is what you're playing this week.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's the regular tour. And you'll get some high water, the waste management, and a few others that are, I mean, they're fun, but they're not like this. And that falls in with live and all the other stuff. So as long as we can keep these guys together for the majors, I'm good. I don't care what tour you play on.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how much money you made. Get your money. It's fine. I don't really know how they're going to keep paying all that, but that's not my problem.
Right.
It's not my money.
But have they sorted all of that out with the qualifications and the points and all of that? With the live guys being able to get world points and all of that to stay
we haven't figured that out yet, but they will.
They will.
Give it time. This is too good for you not to figure it out eventually.
Oh, yeah. And if it's, if LIV still exists in another year.
Which it won't shock me if it doesn't.
Right.
And tens of people will be very, very sad.
It is the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville, and what?
It's a jam-packed day. We got Cam Newton. We got draft talk. I've got a story about Puff Daddy. I didn't expect to be talking about Sean Combs today, but we're doing it. He needs a better financial advisor.
Oh, did he lose a whole boatload of money?
Well, he pays a lot of money for something that kind of makes my head hurt, and I don't get it.
Okay. All right. Cam Newton wants to be he's now resigned himself. He will be a backup.
I don't know that there's ever been anyone in sports that I found to be as delusional as Cam Newton. And now he has his own podcast. And he did it again. He can't stop doing it. He cannot stop doing it.
Why would he? He gets his name out there and he gets people to talk about it.
I don't know. Maybe because the league has looked at you for 2 solid years like, hey, it's super over. It's been over. And yet here we are having to talk about him again.
Mm-hmm. He gave a list of, 9 quarterbacks?
12.
12 quarterbacks that he would want to back up this year.
And it's such a delusional list. So, some of them make sense.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's more where you're like, there is no shot we would ever do this.
Right.
And it just shows that he is completely out to lunch. After the break, We'll tell you who the 12 are and why they make absolutely no sense.
You are in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville.
In a developing story, we've learned that after decades of service to boys and girls everywhere, the Easter Bunny has stepped down. He has identified his replacement as a local rabbit who has been seen frequenting area Ingles markets in recent days. He has been stocking up on Ingles Easter candy, holiday hams, farm fresh eggs, and Easter lilies and balloons. And they also say that Easter magic indeed starts at Ingles.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people.
I'm Clarissa Hyatt-Zach with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina.
Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
Since man created roads, they've been looking for ways to get off-road and vehicles to take them there. That's where Outlaw Off-Road comes in. A premier off-road center for Jeeps, trucks, and SUVs with a complete lineup of off-road and overland services, including maintenance and repair to make your vehicle all that it can be. Check out their location right here in Western North Carolina at 85 Avery Creek Road. Call them today at 828-974-8480 or visit them on the web at theoutlawoffroad.com.
The How to Money podcast helps you live a richer life by teaching you how to handle the money you have in a more thoughtful, purposeful way. Join hosts Joel and Matt for personal finance nuggets that actually make a difference in your life.
Well, the number one rule of cheap travel is to let the deal drive the destination. Bali, it might not be on your radar, but if the price is right, it should be.
Right, yeah. When you take this tactic, it allows you to travel more because you're doing it for so much less money.
Listen to How to Money on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I love Navage. I've told you about how your nose is the body's air filter, that Navage's powered suction will help flush out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs, and that Navage will help you breathe better. But what do other people say about Navage? Like Haley, quote, "Navage is the best thing I bought. I love it. My nose feels so clear now and I can breathe. I've been struggling with a stuffy nose for weeks. I bought Navage and it's amazing." Or this one, "I use Navage every night, could not imagine life without it. I have 5 cats and before I found Navage, I was a clogged mess. Now I breathe so much better," unquote. Those are 2 of over 100,000 online reviews praising Navage, the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million people to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, Target, Rite Aid, and online. Navage, Navage, clean nose, healthy life.
If you're shopping for Easter, Kohl's is unmatched. To prep for the celebrations, I treated myself to a few Sephora beauty must-haves. Plus, I found great basket stuffers for my girls and got an extra 40% off cute outfits for them to wear to Sunday brunch and all spring long. Oh, and I got an extra 15% off. So, take it from me. You need to hop over to Kohl's right now. Select styles. Offers end April 8th. Sephora coupons and Kohl's cash do not apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
The Sportsocracy.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
It is the Sportsocracy. Welcome back into the Ingles Studio, and Cam Newton. He's putting himself out there again, saying, "Look, I still got something left in me. I'm willing to be a backup in this league."
First of all, I will say the background on his podcast is fire. Other than that, I don't really know why you would listen to anything he has to say. But, I mean, people do, obviously. I guess. Somebody had to hear this and go, "Ooh, that's interesting."
Mm-hmm. So he said he put out his list of quarterbacks that he would be willing to back up this year. Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, Justin Fields, Tua Tagovailoa, Malik Willis, Jalen Hurts, Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, and Sam Howell. Why would he call the quarterbacks out instead of the team?
Because he's a moron. That's the nicest way I can say this. Okay, so let's just analyze this list and just be totally honest about it. All right, so a lot of these guys played for his 7-on-7 team. Sam Howell did. I think Malik Willis did.
Okay.
That's why I want to back up my guys. Okay, first of all, there's zero shot that they would put you behind a young guy because there is still a delusional 10% of your fan base that go, we would win more games with Cam Newton. Oh, let me tell you a fun stat. What is Cam Newton's career completion percentage?
59%.
59.9. How many quarterbacks that played in the NFL last year that registered enough snaps to be on the leaderboard were worse than that in 1 year? This is his career mark.
We're worse than that?
We're worse than that.
3.
There were 34 quarterbacks that registered enough snaps to be on this list. It was 1. Baker Mayfield beat it by 1/10%.
Of course it was Baker
He was 33. No. He's not. He's the next one that actually beat it. There's one that's beneath him.
Oh, okay.
Zach Wilson. End of message, repeat the line. And so now you come out and say, and this is where the delusion in him drives me nuts. Because he's the only player I've ever seen that would say, I'm willing to back up these quarterbacks. Have you ever heard the phrase, beggars can't be choosers? Cam Newton is the definition of a 4 that thinks he's a 10.
Mm-hmm.
Walking around just strutting around like, who wants to buy me drinks tonight? Nobody, because you're annoying. That's every time I hear him talk, that's all I can think of. Then you come out with this list, and none of the 12 of them make any sense. So you say Lamar Jackson, you're willing to back him up because, well, these are the guys that are good enough to merit me sitting behind them. Are you stupid? Like, that's the only, like, I can't be nice about this anymore. You would back up every quarterback in the NFL, period. You cannot find a job because you cannot stop talking. And yet there's like 8% of NFL fans that go, well, he's still got something in the tank. Did you see him at Auburn's Pro Day? Did you see any of those throws and how unbelievably inconsistent they were?
No, we saw that one throw that they put out on his social media because it's the only throw that was worth showing.
Well, here's the thing. That camera kept rolling, and that footage is out there. You're not good. You're not good, and you're out of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
I'd back up Aaron Rodgers as a representative of the New York Jets. We ain't interested.
Well, see,
don't call us because we are definitely not calling you.
See, I looked at this list and I went, okay, so either he wants to, A, play for a team that he thinks will win next year, and he can possibly win a championship riding the bench with somebody.
And that falls apart because you put a quarterback in it that we don't know where they're going to play next year.
Or if he thinks that he's going to be able to start or get some playing time behind the others. Because
the ones that don't make any sense are all guys that are attached to him in some shape, form, or fashion. Sam Howell, Malik Willis. I don't remember the other.
Well, see, those are the ones that I looked at. Was so Sam Howell. Okay, well, he's a rookie. I could get some playing time if he struggles. Malik Willis, he could probably start the entire year if it were just him and Malik Willis in a quarterback room. Tua Tagovailoa, he's going to get hurt. Maybe. So maybe Cam gets some playing time there. And Justin Fields is one of those, I don't think people are giving up on him, but although he did single out Justin Fields in the podcast and say that he would be willing to teach him everything he knows.
And so that's the – see, I listened to the whole bit. I listened because he rambled on for like 10 minutes. And the way it struck me is he was saying these first 7 are the only 7 that I actually think are better than me in the NFL. Which is
hubris.
Wow.
Comes shortly before the fall.
I mean, that is a special level of completely delusional. And the other 5 were because he put 3 rookies in there: C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson. Because apparently he has something against Will Levis, which I don't know what it is, and frankly I don't care. Those are the 5 that I'm either attached to or they have a high enough ceiling that I am willing to give my wealth of knowledge as an NFL quarterback to teach them how to play in this league.
That's funny.
I'm going to say this as nicely as I can. Cam Newton is Tim Tebow with a goofy hat. That's it. There's no difference between the two. But he made it to a Super Bowl with one of the best defenses we've seen in the last 20 years. He's not a good quarterback, okay? He's not. I've said this literally for 7 years. This is not new information. And I do not for the life of me understand why this keeps coming up and why we have to keep talking about this. But he does this every single year. We get into this part of the offseason where things have just died down, okay? There's not a lot to talk about, and he puts himself into the discussion. Meanwhile, the NFL has told you for 2 solid years, we're not interested. I don't want my young quarterback learning from you because you are a selfish, me-first guy, and every person that's ever been around you in this league has told me that.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, guess what? What team are we an affiliate of? Oh, okay. Yeah, this guy's pretty well known around the league, and the rep precedes him. You're not the most fun person to deal with, and I don't want you anywhere near my rookie quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Nowhere.
The one thing all of these guys have in common is that they're, other than Aaron Rodgers, is that they're very mobile quarterbacks like he is, and he feels like maybe he could help the team. He can give some pointers here and there. What he's going to teach Lamar Jackson, I have no idea.
He might teach him who his tailor is to get him a sweet suit.
Right, which is why I reverted back to, well, he just wants to win. He wants to sit behind these guys so he can win, because there's nothing that he can impart on Josh Allen, Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson. I don't even feel like he would be much use for Jalen Hurts at this point.
He has no role in this league. None. And I've said this time and time and time again. It's what I've said about your team with Baker Mayfield. There are certain personalities and there are certain names that you don't bring in to be backups because it doesn't make any sense, because they have a portion of the fan base that is completely out to lunch on what they're seeing. Completely. I mean, if you look at his career on the whole, there were 2 years where he was not a replacement level quarterback. In those 2 years, and by the way, the Super Bowl year was one of those.
Mm-hmm.
He won the MVP. A lot of touchdowns, a lot of short fields.
Yep.
You go down that analytically, and you're being really honest with yourself, not much there. Other than that, he's a mediocre quarterback that broke 4,000 yards exactly one time in his career, and it was his rookie year.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm so tired of talking about this. And it comes up, and then it trends on Twitter, and we have to talk about it. There's nothing here. There's no team in the NFL that is running out to do this. Bill Belichick did it at one point 3 years ago now, because he was stuck.
Mm-hmm.
Because Tom left, and he had nobody else. And he was desperate. And since then, the only other team that's done it was the Carolina Panthers. And you know why? Because they were desperate.
Right. They wanted to sell tickets.
And he went 0-5 and was horrible.
But he scored a touchdown against the Cardinals.
Woo!
Yeah, and he had his little "I'm back" moment.
Yeah, you're back.
I'm so done with
it. I can't do it anymore.
Right.
You know what? Cam Newton.
Yes.
Conversation probation. Forever.
If anybody in this league deserves to have probation,
conversation
probation forever,
where their name is never said on this show again.
Cam Newton. Absolutely.
That is the end of that discussion.
Love it.
And you know what? And you know what? If we ignore him, maybe he'll go away.
Let's hope so.
I mean, the league's ignored him for 2 years, and yet he still hasn't gone away.
I want to back up Malik Willis. That dude's not even going to start this year.
Yeah, I did find that funny, too. Right. You do know he's not the starter in Tennessee, right? You would be the three there.
I mean, maybe he's reading the tea leaves that we all see with Ryan Tannehill, but
Tennessee's not going to pay Ryan Tannehill $35 million.
Right. If they get rid of Ryan Tannehill, guess what? It's still not Malik Willis.
It might be for a year.
I don't know.
It might be
I
for a year.
still think they're in play to make a trade in the draft.
Oh, they certainly are. And it's ironic you said that, because at the start of the next hour, we're going to play Jeremy's favorite game, which is A Little Birdie Told Me. I've been having some draft conversations, and if you're a Carolina Panther fan, I don't know how you're going to feel about what I'm getting ready to tell you, but there's more uncertainty at the top of this draft than you want there to be.
In other words, don't order that jersey just
yet.
If
If you've got that C.J. Stroud jersey in your Fanatics cart, maybe just save for later.
Right.
Because I'm not so
Hold
sure
on to
that's
it.
where this is going to go.
Yeah, wait till this actually happens. You are in the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville. We'll get just a bit outside when we come back from the break, and we will give you our next set of team draft needs. We'll talk about those Las Vegas Raiders.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Big change up to the weather scene for the next couple of days. We've been so warm here midweek, but northeast winds off the Atlantic drop the temperatures starting tomorrow. It's 1.5 inches rains for the valley Friday and Saturday as cold northeast winds take over for Easter weekend. We're in the mid-50s for tonight. Some thunderstorms rumbling around. Rain showers Friday, cooler, high 58, low 40. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell. The double steak grilled cheese burrito is now at Taco Bell. 2 servings of grilled marinated steak and a melty 3-cheese layer inside, plus grilled bubbly cheese on the outside. At participating Taco Bell stores for a limited time only while supplies last. Contact local stores for prices, hours, and participation which vary. Tax extra.
Cleaning the inside of your house is easy, but the outside is where most people need a little help. WNC Wash Pros are the highest rated exterior cleaning company in North Carolina with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Whether you need your walkways pressure washed or the outside of the house scrubbed clean, we will kill all organic growth to preserve your paint and extend the life of your roof with our gentle and soft approach. Call us at 828-560-WASH or visit our website at WNCWashPros.com for a free estimate today.
Everybody is buzzing about Yellow Jackets on Showtime, including the cast.
This season will blow your mind. I actually dropped to the floor.
Kind of freaky, kind of gory, and it's a little bit funny.
It's endlessly fascinating.
I think people are going to freak out when they see that.
It's going to be real fun. If I wasn't on this show, I'd be watching just as fiercely.
This season of Yellow Jackets is wild.
If you haven't watched the show yet, get to it!
Yellow Jackets, new episodes streaming now, only on Showtime. And now, stream Showtime on Paramount+.
For more information about contests on the station, log on to espnavl.com.
At Ingles Weather, we're celebrating Friday night rivals, televising college basketball games, bringing the Fan Fest to semi-pro soccer, or taking you out to the ball game at your minor league park. It's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Real estate isn't about properties, it's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt-Zach with eXp Realty, your native realtor serving all of Western North Carolina. I will work hard for you, and I believe in doing the right thing every time. I market each of my listings to reach out-of-town buyers. I use a professional photographer and drone video on every single listing, as well as collaborate with agents across the country to find your buyer. Check me out online at clarissasellswnc.com or give me a call at 828-774-6343. It would be my pleasure to assist you through the real estate process.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
Tired of getting dinged by monthly fees on your checking account? You need Simple Checking from Home Trust Bank. With Simple Checking, you get all the essential checking services for free, including 100% online access and a free Visa debit card. It's everything you need from a checking account, but no hoops, no surprises, no monthly fees. Stop by today or call 800-627-1632. Simple Checking at Home Trust. Ready for what's next. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Boy, you must be outside your mind.
The Sportsocracy.
Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
Welcome back into the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville. Time to get just a bit outside, and we love to tell you about bettors who did big things with little tiny investments. Because
this is me, Trayvon Walker again.
No. This is actually better than that. This is better than the Trayvon Walker tip ever thought it could be. Had they known
about that?
Had they actually known? So there's a story today that a bettor put $25 down on a futures bet for the Sacramento Kings to win the Pacific Division this year. $25. He got it at plus, or she, I don't know. I don't know the sex or how they identify of the bettor, but Plus 40,000 was the number. This was placed in October of last year. I didn't know that you could do that.
Oh, yeah. You can wager on anything.
So you can go to the book right now and say, I want to put a bet on such and like Charlotte Hornets to win the Atlantic in 5 years from now. How far do they go out?
Oh, it's not that far. No, it's basically to the end of the next year.
Okay. All right. So October of last year, somebody put $25 down on the Kings to win.
But now October of last year was the start of the season.
Right. And who would have thought? Definitely the DraftKings folks didn't ever think that the Sacramento Kings were going to finish atop the division over the Golden State Warriors, the Los Angeles Lakers, the Clippers, the Phoenix Suns. No shot at that. He won $10,000 on a $25 bet.
Yeah, now see, you love telling stories like this, and I'm not trying to throw water on it. My question would be, how much did you wager on every other team? Because if you put $25 on it, that tells me you weren't all that confident, and you probably did it with a lot of teams.
Mm-hmm.
And then you probably threw heavy wagers on the favorites. That's how a lot of people do things like this.
Okay.
And you wind up, it's either a net neutral or a loss.
So
unless it's just a Kings fan, which is possible.
In my mind, this is Kings fan. This is struggling Kings fan who's like, you know what? Screw it. I got an extra $25. We're not going to win it this year, but hey, maybe next year.
And that's possible.
Maybe.
Have you ever heard of a company called Me Undies?
Me Undies?
Me Undies.
No.
They apparently are a underoo group that advertises a lot on podcasts. They have there's not really a way for me to say that. There's a specific technology they use in their underoos that is meant to make them more comfortable.
Okay.
Well,
so
you remember the story?
Yeah, like a keepsake.
Not quite like that, no. So I told you the story earlier in the week that Dan Hurley had been wearing the same pair of dragon-themed underoos through the entire tournament. Well, we got the answer to, is he washing them?
Mm-hmm.
He brought a portable washing machine with him. Did you know that was a thing? I was today years old when I found out that there was a portable washing machine.
Is that like a golf ball washer? You just stuff your undies in it and just
kind of. So it's this little box that's roughly the size of my computer monitor that you just apparently can put like one garment in at a time and it'll wash it. I had no idea that was a thing. But the reason that I know that is because Dan Hurley did a special thing because of his underoos. They raised $50,000 for the Husky Ticket Project. It's how they do local things around stores with
Okay, I got you. So this isn't like the cops giving tickets to fat people.
No.
Okay, all right.
No. There's a reason I tell the jokes on this show, and that's it. So Me Undies found out that he was wearing their garment, and it's called the Mother of Dragon Boxers. Apparently, it's a very popular item on their website.
Okay.
So when they got to the title game, they gave a charitable donation of $25,000 to the Husky Ticket Project. And they said, if UConn wins, we'll double it. Well, they did. And so Dan Hurley's undergarments raised $50,000 for the UConn Husky Ticket Project. I thought that was a cool story. And cool. I was mystified that there's a portable washing machine. Why does one need that? I can't figure out a path. I mean, I know that, and this I'm really about to hurt somebody's brain here. As I'm at staying in hotels a lot, when I first got into traveling for a living, I was told don't ever use the coffee pot in your hotel room.
Okay.
Do you know why?
No.
Because people will wash their skivvies in it. It's a little device that runs hot water. They put it in the filtered thing. And
interesting.
Now, every time I see that coffee pot, I'm like, no, I don't want coffee that bad. There's a Starbucks around here somewhere. I feel very sure of it.
What? That's making me question all of my coffee drinking decisions at hotels.
Yeah, don't.
I'll never do it again. I'll never do it again.
No, you won't. Nope. Veteran guy that worked for the same company I did straight up told me, don't ever use that.
I mean, I guess if your plan is to wear the same pair of underwear for several days, you got to wash them.
Run it through the coffee filter.
What am I, an animal? No. So you just get your own portable
washing machine.
Skivvy washer.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. All right. It is the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville. Let's talk about draft team needs again. It's time to talk about the Las Vegas Raiders.
Many of our team mock drafts, the rest of them will be out tomorrow, but all but 6, I think, are up on the YouTube page right now, and we will have 7-rounders starting next week.
The Raiders have a whole lot of draft capital.
They do.
They got the number 7 overall pick for now. Are they a team that's going to make a trade?
I don't think so. Look, that's a team everybody keeps identifying. It's never made sense to me that you go out and get Jimmy Garoppolo, which is Josh McDaniels' guy. You bring in Brian Hoyer to back him up, and now you're telling me you're going to use the 7th pick in the draft on another quarterback? I mean, because if the Jimmy Garoppolo thing doesn't go well, everybody in this organization is LMNO fired. And so now we're going to have to go find a coach that is attached to either Will Levis or Anthony Richardson, whichever one falls in our lap. I don't buy it. I don't buy it, and I've never bought it. So I think the Raiders are going to stand pat and take the player that falls to them at 7 that makes the most sense. Whether that's Christian Gonzalez, which is who I had them taking in the last mock, could be Joey Porter Jr. I feel like there are a few other guys it could be if they fall. But
is that too high for a lineman?
I don't think that's as big of a – I mean, it's a need, don't get me wrong, but I'm not sure that – I mean, Paris Johnson maybe. But for me, he's crept up to such a point now that, okay, now we're talking about him going in the top 7. Whoa. And there's really not an edge if everything goes the way I think that it will, because Tyree Wilson will be gone. Will Anderson will be gone.
And they will not touch Jordan Davis or
Jalen Carter.
Jalen Carter.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so. I think there's
no way you could get over that PR storm.
I don't think there's I think there's a precipitous fall coming for Jalen Carter.
After the Henry Ruggs thing,
well,
Las Vegas can have nothing to do with Jalen Carter.
Not to be honest with you, I hadn't even really thought of that.
Right.
But it's a good point. So for me, your 3 biggest needs are you need an offensive tackle. I guess you addressed tight end. I guess with Austin Hooper and O.J. Howard. I mean, they're 1-year stopgap, so I don't think you're going to attack that early. You need a corner badly. You need an interior defensive lineman badly, and you need another linebacker. There's not a linebacker that you can take this high, in spite of what CBS just put out with Drew Sanders at 8, and I swear to you, it ruined my shirt because now there's blood on my shoulder.
Right.
There are people that put out mock drafts, and I'm like, did you even try? Did you just put names in a hat and pick them out and go, hey, Drew Sanders going number 8, let's go.
You just want to be different. You just want to be different, so people like us will mention it.
Well, worked, but notice I didn't say the name of the person that put it out, because no.
It was 100% clickbait.
Oh, no doubt.
The deeper you got into that list, you went, okay, you can't be serious. All right, so what else do the Raiders need?
Well, I mean, I listed off the positions they need. Now the question is, Oakland, wow, hadn't done that in a while. Las Vegas has one of the weirdest paths to me, because I feel like there's going to be a high-end player there for you at 7, but it gets harder for me to fill your needs as I go down the list. In spite of the fact they have a lot of draft capital, they have needs at positions that aren't really deep.
Okay.
So you need an interior defensive lineman. Okay, where exactly am I supposed to get that guy? As like you said, I don't think they can touch that. I don't think you can take Jalen Carter at 7.
No. At 38 in the second round, will a guy like Mozzie Smith still be on the board?
No shot. And then once you get past him, it's now you're reaching aggressively. And that's – I got a lot of flack for some of the picks that I made on the Raiders.
Gervon Dexter.
That's too high.
Yeah.
At least that's too high for me. For a position that you don't really fit what it is that I want him to do. And that's where I get to guys like DeJuan Jones or Darnell Wright. If they fell to 38, I think you have to do it. Because I get there to 38 and go, if it's not a linebacker, which I don't think is one of their biggest needs, I'm knocking out corner early because I know either Joey Porter Jr. or Christian Gonzalez is going to be there. There's no path if they're not.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to get one of those early, and then it's just,
You get Matthew Bergeron because I'm sure he's not going 19 to the Bucks.
This CBS mock has driven him so crazy that this will not be the only time this is mentioned today. But, I mean, the Raiders are an interesting team. And I'll be really honest with you. I think you're going to learn more about where they are in Las Vegas based off the draft. One of these quarterbacks very likely will be there at 7. And when they pass, and I firmly believe they're going to, what does that say? If you take one, it tells me that Josh McDaniels is way safer than we think he is.
Mm-hmm.
And so is Dolph Ziggler in the front office. I know it's Dave.
I don't think they are. I really don't know that they are safe.
I don't either. I feel like the Raiders are one of those teams that has not necessarily invested the money, but you have definitely shown that you're trying to be good right now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do I think that's going to do much of anything? I mean, I'm looking at the roster right now. They're not better than Kansas City. They're not better than the Chargers. I think them in Denver is debatable, and it really depends more on what quarterback I'm getting out of Russell Wilson in Denver than anything with the Raiders.
Well, I mean, the Raiders are in a position there that whole new Patriot dynasty that they wanted to start there. They all know, like, we've got to put together the best possible, quote unquote, best possible roster we can, which is basically, okay, let's stick to what we know. We'll go out and we'll get all these pieces that we know we can make your offense work with, Josh, and we can make Patrick, the defense, work with you.
I'm going to be honest with you. I like the offense.
You do?
I do. I like the offense.
Okay.
Now, I hate where you're playing because I like your offense, and I could make the argument it's the worst one in your division. I don't think it is. I think offensively they're better than Denver. But defensively, you're not even close.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're not even the ballpark of what they're going to throw out there. So if you see the Raiders, they've got, 4 picks in the top 100? 7, 38, 70, and 100.
Yep.
If they go 4 defensive picks right there, this team thinks they're really competitive. Because you're trying to add pieces that are going to contribute right now.
Mm-hmm.
If you start seeing them do longer range things, and I'm not really talking about 7, I'm more talking about the other 3. If you get down this path of projects, okay, you believe in Josh McDaniels way more than the rest of us do. I mean, I thought that with the Jimmy Garoppolo signing in the first place. But if you remember, I said Tom Brady doesn't make any sense because this is not a win-now roster.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers didn't make any sense because it's not a win-now roster. I just feel like Vegas is, and I hate to use this term because we're talking about a team in Las Vegas, I feel like they're going all in, but they're really depleted in terms of chips. You're pushing it all in, but you're the short chip stack. So anybody at the table that calls you, you're probably in trouble.
Right. I mean, you're not going to be – I don't think this is going to be a team that's going to be any good next year, records-wise. They might have, some good games. They might win some surprise games.
Well, I mean, just your high side is that you have 3-3 in your own division.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go down the rabbit hole of who they play, and it gets kind of hard for – I mean, I could see them being 7-10, 8-9. I think they're better than they were last year.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, does that save Josh McDaniels? And that's what's so hard for me to figure out with some teams is that you go into free agency and you do the things that make me think that you believe you're competitive. And almost invariably it puts you in a terrible position because then 2 years from now you got a new coaching staff coming in. You got to overhaul everything. And that's where the Raiders are. You have to try to be good now. But because of the investment you made in Devontae Adams, the investment you made in Chandler Jones, the investment you made in Max Crosby. This is a really expensive roster. It's just a thin roster. And the good thing is you've got more picks than any team in the NFL.
The question is, can you do anything with them? Can this front office turn that into something, whereas, Mike Mayock.
Well, they could not possibly be as bad at drafting as Mike Mayock is. You have basically an 8-year period where your first-round picks are what is left is Josh Jacobs. End of message, repeat the line.
Oh, the top picks were terrible. He had some good ones deeper in the draft, but there again, I mean, you got to hit the big ones. You have to hit the big ones. You have to make a top 7, top 15 pick work.
And over the course of the 3 days of the draft, I feel like they're going to add somebody on the interior of that line. Wouldn't be shocked if they threw another receiver as a long-term play. That's where you can start seeing projects.
Mm-hmm.
But I have this funny feeling that they're going to be taking the players that can help them right now on defense. And I'm not sure that that's the best call for your long-term future.
Mm-hmm. Are they a competitive team right now? Or
let me ask you this, but before we have to get to a commercial.
Yeah.
If they were in the NFC, how many teams are better than them in the NFC right now? I did this before the show.
4.
It's 4. That's where I got to. The problem with the Raiders is that you are a victim of the fact that you play in the AFC. And so no matter what you do with the roster, there are probably 6 teams that you're not passing no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
If Aaron Rodgers winds up with the Jets, there's 7 teams that you're not passing no matter what. And that's why I'm looking at this going, man, this is an infuriating way to build a roster. But I think you're stuck in it now.
All right, coming up after the break, Jeremy will have his bangers of the night in the NBA, all the ways that you can make some money tonight, your best bets of the NBA action. We will talk, the birds are chirping. The birds are talking, even though they're not real, and they're telling Flostradamus little draft nuggets, and there may be some big shakeups at the top of this 2023 NFL draft.
There's something that people think is a given, and it is not a given.
You are in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville. We've got the Bears and the Cardinals team needs coming up later on in the program as well. Stick with us.
Just keep your eye on the ball. At Ingles, we know that big dreams don't always make it to the big leagues. But we also know that baseball, it's family. It's about building character. And as sure as there'll be some stumbles on that journey from first to home, we'll be right there, cheering you on. This is baseball, and this is who we are. Ingles, we're with you every step of the way.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at roguecombatclub.com.
QC Kinetics patient Diane Richardson saw her brother-in-law have surgery for pain in his elbow.
My brother-in-law, after that surgery, had his arm in a sling for almost 6 months, extensive PT, pain medication, a lot of restrictions of what he could not do.
So when Diane's husband, Greg, had a similar problem, she encouraged a different treatment, regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics. And the experience was like night and day compared to his brother.
After 6 months, nothing. He hasn't felt any pain, and that has been 2 years since he's had treatment.
Plus, no drugs and no downtime.
He was literally out golfing when he wanted to and doing whatever he wanted to. It was probably 9 months before my brother-in-law got back out on the golf course, and my husband was on the golf course the entire time. And he was so elated. He goes, Diane, game changer.
Before you have surgery for that joint pain, get a second opinion. Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 828-333-9517. That's 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-290-5599. That's 1-800-290-5599. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-290-5599. That's 1-800-290-5599.
SelectQuote. We shop, you save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Coffee's the closer's home. Get them the money. Then when you get the money, you get the power. That watch costs more than your car. Then when you get the power, then you get the woman.
Minus a late backdoor cover on the over. I couldn't have been more right on the national title game if I tried. UConn won by 1 billion. It was never in doubt, and it was the lowest watched final game in the history of the tournament. Now we're on to the playoff push in the NBA, and I got a few that you can make some money on tonight. This is Greene on Greene, brought to you by Ingles Markets. Low prices, love the savings. First off, my 2023 NBA champion Denver Nuggets are a 10.5-point dog tonight at Phoenix, over under 224.5. Okay, this could come back to bite me in the tuchus, but Phoenix doesn't have anything to play for either. The Nuggets are not playing anybody. We don't really know what the lineup's going to look like because they've already clinched the West. Phoenix doesn't have anything to play for either. They're locked into the 4 seed, short of a small miracle, and so you don't know what that team's going to look like either. They haven't been healthy in a long time, and I could see them resting players too. Phoenix probably wins this because you're going to see the B squad from Denver, but you might see that from Phoenix too. Give me the Nuggets plus 10.5, under 224.5. The Orlando Magic are a 10.5-point favorite tonight at home against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Let's play a fun game. Who is playing for Cleveland tonight? Their star will be Ricky Rubio, followed by C.D. Osman, Lamar Stevens, Dean Wade, and Robin Lopez. That sounds like a YMCA squad, and I think I'm being mean to the YMCA. Orlando doesn't have anything to play for either, but they're at least playing NBA players, and I'm not sure Cleveland didn't just get 8 guys out of the front office to throw on a jersey tonight. Give me the Magic minus the 10.5. And finally, the Miami Heat are a 3-point dog at Philadelphia tonight, over under 219.5. This is one of the only teams in play tonight that actually has something to play for. If Miami's not careful, they're going to be stuck in the play-in game. Yes, they're better than the Hawks. They're better than the Raptors. They're better than the Bulls. But that's not a game you want to play in. There is still a chance that they can catch the Brooklyn Nets and get out of the play-in, which means you're going to see everybody for the Miami Heat. Philadelphia, they're in that same position Portland is. They're pretty much locked into the 3 unless something out of this world happens. So you could see a lesser squad from the Sixers. So give me the Miami Heat plus the 3. I'll take them to win outright. And neither of these teams scores all that well. And the thought that you might have some backups, I'm going under the 219.5. For more, follow us on all the social medias at The Sportsocracy. And as always, Greene on Greene is brought to you by Ingles Markets. Love the savings with Ingles. Love the winnings with me. Well it out.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Big change up to the weather scene for the next couple of days. We've been so warm here midweek, but northeast winds off the Atlantic drop the temperatures starting tomorrow. Some 1.5 inch rains for the valley Friday and Saturday as cold northeast winds take over for Easter weekend. We're in the mid-50s for tonight. Some thunderstorms rumbling around. Rain showers Friday, cooler, high 58, low 40. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This report is sponsored by eBay Motors. You do anything to keep your vehicle happy. Let's make sure it stays running smoothly. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, the right parts are just a click away. When you see the green check, you know that part will fit. Get the right parts at the right prices. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Discover credit cards automatically double all the cash back you earn at the end of your first year. Which means... Wait. Hold up. Question for the audio engineer.
Go ahead.
Did I read that right? Discover automatically doubles all your cash back?
Yeah, that's what the script says.
So if I get a Discover card right now, I can earn twice the cash back.
Apparently. Wait! Unlimited first-year cash back match. Only from Discover. See terms and learn more at discover.com/match.
Shop SpringFest at Lowe's today and save big on select major appliances. Get an additional $100 off select laundry pairs when you spend $1,296 or more. Valid through 4/12. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com for details.
To some, a baby's babbling doesn't mean much, but it does. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Hear new music first on your free iHeartRadio app.
This is Lars.
James from Metallica here.
And this is iHeartRadio.
What's up? This is Mike Shinoda from Linkin Park.
We're the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah. Playing now on your completely free iHeartRadio app, where the biggest stars in the world connect with you.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart Radio Station.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. John Rahm double bogeyed the first hole at the Masters today, but he recovers in style and fires a 7-under 65, the lowest Masters round ever after a double to start. Rahm shares the lead with Victor Hovland. Live coverage of the Masters right now on ESPN and ESPN Plus. Tiger Woods with a 2-over 74 today. The Dallas Mavericks have work to do this weekend just to make the Western Conference play-in tournament. But ESPN's Tim Legler doesn't see much of a future for Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving.
I'm not a big believer that this is going to work going forward. I just don't think the Mavericks have much of a choice when you look at these teams in the West and how most of them have multiple All-Stars. I don't know that Dallas can go in any other direction. Let's keep our fingers crossed that it does work out, but I'm very skeptical at this point.
Tim Legler. Creighton sophomore Ryan Nembhard will enter the transfer portal. He'll be one of the best point guards available in the portal.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, Greene. That's Greene. Enter it now.
Log on now to ESPNAVL.com. He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Greene. Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets and Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
Welcome back into the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. The Sportsocracy heard everywhere you go on the iHeartRadio app, and we are seen everywhere on YouTube. Go to thesportsocracy.com, click that live video link. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you can join us in the chat. We got draft rumors galore, and apparently what I had thought was a sure thing at the number one overall pick, apparently not so much.
Well, it's not really so much news to me. I asked this question from the get-go. All right. When all of a sudden did C.J. Stroud become this can't-miss quarterback? And because none of us went into the offseason thinking that way. And we get this in our YouTube comments all the time. Anybody that has Bryce Young and has C.J. Stroud is stupid. Okay, then you basically just called every scout in the NFL stupid. Because that's how we went into the offseason.
Yes. And I think that's where everybody still is, talent-wise.
Well, now it was assumed that C.J. Stroud was going one to Carolina. Now there is a report, and it has been picked up by a lot of people, and it seems to be coming from a lot of different places. Albert Breer and Chris Mortensen are the two biggest names I've seen attached to this. There's a good chance that anyone picks Bryce Young.
I wouldn't hate that at all. I actually think he's the better quarterback. I've said that the
entire time.
I didn't think they would go down that path because of the size. But again, if I don't think size matters, then maybe David Tepper, Scott Fitterer, and Frank Reich, maybe they believe that size doesn't matter either.
How many people are shocked that Tank Spencer thinks size doesn't matter? That's why I tell the jokes. The tape on Bryce Young is phenomenal. Now, here's what I was told. There is a test. It's a cognitive test that has become more popular around the league the last few years. Apparently, David Tepper is just all in on this and could not wait to get the results of this test back. This is a test that Joe Burrow blew out of the water. This is a test that Justin Fields blew out of the water. And apparently Bryce Young did too. From what I have been told, David Tepper has been on Bryce Young the entire time. That has not changed. There were some in the front office. There was a C.J. Stroud camp. There was a Bryce Young camp. And there was, from what I understand, a small portion that really liked Anthony Richardson. The Anthony Richardson thing has died off. That's not happening.
Mm-hmm.
The number one pick is either going to be Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud. Now, if you watch the betting markets, Bryce Young is coming down and down and down. C.J. Stroud's not really moving that much because I think there is a little bit of afraid that we don't really know what's going on in the room. Chris Mortensen came out on ESPN and basically said this is exactly like the San Francisco 49ers a couple years ago when they traded up with the intent of taking Mac Jones. Over the course of time, they fell in love with Trey Lance. They changed their mind at the last minute, and it hasn't gone particularly well. According to Chris Mortensen, they moved up with the intention of taking Bryce Young. And now David Tepper is the one that is screaming, we can't change our minds. We have to go Bryce Young. That is the quarterback. And it's having a little bit of a domino effect.
Okay.
Because if you watch mock drafts, especially with people that are reasonably well connected around the league, there's a chance the Texans don't take a quarterback at 2. Because I don't think they're in love with C.J. Stroud.
Okay. So if Bryce Young...
I think they're taking a quarterback is completely at the mercy of that Bryce Young is there.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's not, there is a good chance they take Will Anderson too.
And if I'm the Carolina Panthers and I think there's any truth to that rumor, then that should help me make my decision.
Well, I don't know that Houston would move up. I'm not sure that they're going to give up the capital because you basically have to make up, according to the Jimmy Johnson chart, you have to make up 400 draft points to get from 2 to 1, which basically would be giving up their second-round pick. I don't think they're doing that.
Mm-hmm.
There has been a low grumble all offseason long of don't be shocked if the Texans don't take a quarterback. And they roll with Davis Mills for another year. They know this roster is not good. They hired DeMeco Ryans with we're going to do this the right way. We fired 3 coaches in 3 years. We're not doing that again. DeMeco is our guy. He played here. He's one of the best players in franchise history. We got our guy. And we're going to do this the right way. And from the best I can tell, I think they're in love with they're in light love with Bryce Young.
Okay.
I think they have him ahead of Will Anderson. I don't think it's by much. And if he's not there, they'll take Will Anderson at 2.
Mm-hmm.
And they will try to build this roster, go with Davis Mills, knowing full well we're going to be picking in the top 5 next year. We have extra ammo. We can get up to 1 if we need to because there will be a lot of teams that are bad next year that are not in the quarterback market. So you could easily see 2 huge trades at the top of the draft next year to get Caleb Williams and Drake May.
Mm-hmm.
And it appears to me from everything that I'm told and everything that I'm seeing that the top of this draft is not as set in stone as people think it is.
How far ahead, speaking of next year's draft, how far ahead of Bryce Young are Caleb Williams and Drake May, or are they?
They're ahead for sure. I would say, in terms of my rating system, my preliminary on Caleb Williams is a 9.6. My preliminary on Drake May is a 9.5.
Okay.
I have a 9.2 on Bryce Young.
Okay, so it's a fractional.
That's a pretty decent amount.
Okay.
Now you're looking at 2 quarterbacks next year that, depending on what happens, and there's a lot of conjecture here. But, because you got a whole year to play. Is there a possibility that Drake May doesn't look as good without Phil Longo?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a possibility that losing Jordan Addison and all of the upheaval with the USA roster that Caleb Williams doesn't look as good? It's possible, but I look for May to be more likely in that than Caleb Williams.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the outlier with Quinn Ewers. What I believe has happened here is Houston. There's just something about C.J. Stroud that's rubbing them the wrong way. I don't know what it is. I have no idea. But there is no momentum for C.J. Stroud to wind up in Houston. And the more I see people putting this out, the more I'm starting to go, okay. Because this is what we have to do when we get to this point. I hear a lot of things. Most of it I can throw out with the bathwater of it's just sheer smoke. Then you get to a point where you've heard something and you've heard it a lot. And it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And then you get to this point and you start watching the visits and you start watching what these teams are doing and you try to slot in who's going to go where and where is it that we want to take this guy. And you can kind of build a narrative. That's the beauty of how much information is out there when it comes to the draft. Because some of these things I don't have to be specifically told. Houston has been the landing spot for Bryce Young the entire time. And now there has been a narrative that Carolina was so in love with him because Josh McCown likes him so much and Chris Sims likes him so much. None of those people are making this pick. The question is, what does David Tepper think? What does Scott Fitterer think? What does Frank Reich think? And I'm getting to the point of I think Bryce Young is going to go 1.
Okay.
In the 7-round mock draft that comes out next week, I'm 99% sure I'm going to have Bryce Young going to the Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
And you talk about an upheaval, that changes everything. Because now you're going to have C.J. Stroud possibly fall past Houston. Arizona becomes the prettiest girl at the bar, and they are desperate to trade down.
Right. We are
and
ready.
If there's no Will Anderson, they will move out. You mark my words, remember I said it. I don't report things very often. If Will Anderson's not on that board at 3, you mark my words, they will take whatever the highest offer to get out of there is. Now, who that's going to be, I don't know. But if C.J. Stroud is still on the board at 3, it opens up teams that we haven't really – it's not that we haven't talked about them. It's just been, are they going to pay that price to get up against Anthony Richardson, who's a real project?
Mm-hmm.
Or Will Levis, who has real boom or bust? C.J. Stroud doesn't have that problem. His floor is exponentially higher than the other two that I just said. And so you get into this, and cousin Colin Greene just kind of beat me to the punch here. If that guy falls, it opens up 2 teams that we haven't talked about really much at all outside of the beginning. It's the Seattle Seahawks and the Detroit Lions. Because C.J. Stroud is a guy that I can sit him behind Geno Smith for a year or 2, and I know 2 years from now, I'm good to go. Could even be a year with the way Geno's contract's laid out.
Right.
With the Lions, yes, we like Jared Goff a lot, and we're totally fine. But you start reading tea leaves of, okay, what's going to happen here? Indianapolis is taking a quarterback. I refuse to believe that they're not. They're too locked in on Levis. Everything I've heard is it's Levis. And then it gets to the, okay, what if there's no offer? What if Arizona gets to this point and they're dead set on moving out because they don't want to take Tyree Wilson or Bijan Robinson, which is a name I've heard more than once with them. I don't want to take that guy at 3. Would they trade within the division? I don't think so. But that's where you get to Detroit. Like, okay. I mean, if we're going to get this for 110% as opposed to the 130%, we've got this extra first-round pick from the move with Stafford. Now it becomes something I have to look at. And you got to be careful because there are things that come out. This is, what do I always call this time of year?
Lying season.
Lying season. But this is one of those times that I'm hearing it from really high-level, very well-connected people, and it's making things that I've heard throughout the entire process make a lot more sense. I don't know. Slash in our YouTube comment said Stroud's the best quarterback in this draft. I think he's the safest quarterback in this draft. I can't get to the he's the best. He had 2 high-level tapes. I struggled to believe that Carolina was moving up for Stroud. I struggled to believe it when the trade came out. Then the betting market just went nanners on C.J. Stroud, and I started to buy it. And now it's getting back to the, okay, let's big boy pants.
Well, because the common thought or theory at that point was, okay, you moved up to 1, but now you got to make sure you get that pick right. Now you gotta make sure you're minimizing risk, and that's where C.J. Stroud was to me. He was the least risk of the 2 star franchise quarterbacks that are at the top of this draft.
Well, I mean, this is what happens if you look back, and I've done this. I won't bore you with what I've deduced here. When you get into a class that has this few high-end talents, and a team falls in love with one, that's where you start seeing teams do things that catch you by surprise. That's where trades come out of nowhere that none of us had. And then all of a sudden the first round looks completely different. And I love that Chris Mortensen used the San Francisco move up. It was for Mac Jones. That was not smoke. It was not smoke. I am 100% convinced of that. And then they realized, oh, wait a minute, the ceiling on him is so low. And the ceiling on Trey Lance is so high, and they fell in love with the upside of, okay, well, if we get a quarterback that's Colt McCoy on steroids, which is what I called Mac Jones, even then we gave up a lot to get that guy. You're looking around the draft class now, who, and you get to hear me ramble on about these things a lot when we're not on air. Who's the prospect I've told you that everybody is locked in on? You see how you shook your head and you don't have one? It's because there's not one.
Okay.
Bryce Young is the only talent that everyone I talk to feels the same way about. Now, they invariably get to the size. That has nothing to do with the play on the field.
Mm-hmm.
Every other player in this draft, there's a yeah, but. And that's where you get into this. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder, and then you get teams that really want to move out. And do I think Seattle or Detroit are sitting here going, we got to come away from this with a quarterback? No. But if C.J. Stroud becomes a value and they've got excess capital, that's how you stay good for a really long time. The top of this draft has become infinitely more interesting in the last 72 hours. Infinitely more interesting.
Chris Mortensen among those reporting that the Carolina Panthers are, quote, in love with Bryce Young. That's, if you're in love, you got to do it.
Absolutely.
You got to take the lead. Frank Reich is not in a position, like if this is the guy that he loves, he's not in a position to let somebody tell him no. Like if he loves Bryce Young and say Scott Fitterer was on C.J. Stroud, I don't know that that's the case. I'm just saying, what if? Frank Reich, I don't think is in a position to. He's not going to walk away from that meeting. And go, okay, you're right.
Well, here's what you got to remember.
Because I mean, this is his second go round as a head coach.
Well, the thing you got to remember is that the move up to 1 was a Scott Fitterer decision. It was signed off on by David Tepper. I'm sure Frank Reich had a loud voice in that meeting.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, the two that made this decision are slightly over his head. And so you have to – I had this problem from the jump of, well, there's 2 quarterbacks we really like. No, there's not. You just gave up a mountain to get somebody. I refuse to believe you didn't get up there for a player. And this report is making me think that I was right in the beginning. It was Bryce Young. I got swayed by the betting market. And one thing you have to remember about the betting market, especially with the NFL draft, people are really susceptible to what they hear. Because very few people get actual insider information. I mean, even people like us, we're told things, and you kind of have to cobble together, okay, so why are you telling me that? Are you telling me that because it's true, or are you telling me that because you're trying to put it out there to get somebody else to do something? Carolina doesn't have to do any of that now. They have to do none of that. We have the number 1 pick. We will do whatever we want to. And we gave up an amount that if we're wrong, Elementa fired. Scott Fitterer will be back in Seattle as the director of college scouting. And I really believe it's Bryce Young.
You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400, your central location for all things Draftmas season.
Every pick of the 2023 draft live with beverages.
That's right.
And we hope that by the end of the 6th round, Tank's not saying bye to the floor. That's the goal.
Just go to thesportsocracy.com, click that live video link, subscribe to the channel so you can join us for all of it.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Light delays. Future 26 eastbound between Riverside Drive and 240. 26 westbound stop and go between Hendersonville Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. In Haywood County, 40 westbound crawling between exit 27 and US 276. Near Avery Creek, Boulevard Road northbound approaching Long Shoals Road is slow. Checking the drive time from Biltmore Forest to Fletcher via Hendersonville Road southbound, drive time 16 minutes. I'm Lee Benfield with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell. The double steak grilled cheese burrito is now at Taco Bell. 2 servings of grilled marinated steak and a melty 3-cheese layer inside, plus grilled bubbly cheese on the outside. At participating Taco Bell stores for a limited time only while supplies last. Contact local stores for prices, hours, and participation which vary. Tax extra.
Cleaning the inside of your house is easy, but the outside is where most people need a little help. WNC Wash Pros are the highest rated exterior cleaning company in North Carolina with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Whether you need need your walkways pressure washed or the outside of the house scrubbed clean, we will kill all organic growth to preserve your paint and extend the life of your roof with our gentle and soft approach. Call us at 828-560-WASH or visit our website at WNCWashPros.com for a free estimate today.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Gain presents a tale of longing and long-lasting scent. Dear love of my life, we were on the 12B bus when I caught a whiff. A scent so fresh, so life-changing, I had to find its source. I didn't know if you were the woman in the pink freshly washed cardigan or the retired mailman next to me, but I knew one of you was my soulmate. Ah, the scent of Gain Flings. Add Gain scent beads for an even longer-lasting scent.
Spring in the South means the return of Atlanta Braves baseball.
There's a liner out towards center field. It will lay down. Here comes Ronald. Braves win it.
The 2023 Braves load up for another huge season.
The Braves play here on ESPN Asheville.
At Ingles, we know that big dreams don't always make it to the big leagues. But we also know that baseball, it's family. It's about building character. And as sure as there'll be some stumbles on that journey from first to home, we'll be right there, cheering you on. This is baseball, and this is who we are. Ingles, we're with you every step of the way.
Real estate isn't about properties, it's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt-Zach with eXp Realty, your native realtor serving all of Western North Carolina. I will work hard for you, and I believe in doing the right thing every time. I market each of my listings to reach out-of-town buyers. I use a professional photographer and drone video on every single listing, as well as collaborate with agents across the country to find your buyer. Check me out online at clarissasellswnc.com or give me a call at 828-774-6343. It would be my pleasure to assist you through the real estate process.
The Sportsocracy.
You were just dumbing a bag of hammers.
We're back in the Ingles studio on ESPN Asheville, and the draft rumors continue here. There's a report that is attributed back to Jeff Howe of The Athletic that the New England Patriots, well, with all of the talk about what to do in the NFL draft, where this team is going, are they ready to compete right now? Bill Belichick apparently has one thing on his mind going into this draft, and it's getting a, quote, blue chip running back.
Well, there's only two of those. There's Jahmyr Gibbs out of Alabama that I have said I think goes at the back end of the first round. And then there's that guy that we've talked about a bunch, Bijan Robinson out of Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anybody that has much negative to say about him whatsoever. I think every person that I value their opinion has him in the top 5 talents in this class. The problem is that running back has been devalued to such a point that none of us can really figure out where to slot him. I have said Philadelphia makes a ton of sense because I don't really think you have that bell cow running back. But New England makes a good amount of sense too. Because Ramondre Stevenson and Bijan Robinson, I'm not going to say I don't care who your quarterback is, but if the reports on Mac Jones, if that holds up and somehow they were to move off him, or even if they just turned to Bailey Zapp, having 2 running backs like that, that's putting your young quarterback in a position to succeed.
Absolutely.
I find it interesting that they say a blue chip running back, almost as to say that they don't value Ramondre that way. I mean, Bill's going to use a committee no matter who he has. He could have had Barry Sanders and he would have still been looking for somebody else.
Right. And I guess I can understand that. I mean, Ramondre is a good player.
Absolutely.
There's no doubt about that.
Well, I mean, if you're New England and you take all of these things into account of what Bill has said, what has come out of that building, Bill's tired of being mediocre.
Mm-hmm.
I think he knows he's kind of stuck at quarterback. Whether it's Zapp or Mac Jones, I don't feel like you could. All right, let's say Will Levis falls, or even if C.J. Stroud fell past a certain point. I don't feel like Bill can make a move to go get the young guy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you just did this 2 years ago. I mean, and yeah, we all know what he is. But if you want to see what you have, adding somebody like Bijan Robinson is not a bad idea.
Mm-hmm. I don't think there's a quarterback move coming for that.
I don't either.
I think
they're going to go into camp. I fully believe New England's going to go into camp and they're going to give Bailey Zapp. And yes, I refuse to call him Zappy. If you want your name to be Zappy, put a Y on the end of it. I think they're going to give him every chance to win this job. And no matter who the quarterback is, they're going to know there are some warts. And I think they feel good about the defense. They look at that defense and go, we can win with that defense if the offense can just do enough to really put the onus on the defense.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the way to do that, if your quarterback is mediocre, then you just put toys around him. And the thought of Ramondre Stevenson, I mean, that's a multiple offense.
Absolutely.
People forget Ramondre Stevenson played fullback.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a possibility that you would have both on the field at the same time, and that would make my brain hurt if I was a defensive coordinator.
Well, it'll keep you guessing as to which one's going to get the ball. Are they going between the tackles? Are they bouncing to the outside? Is this going to be a screen pass to either one of them? Because Ramondre's got hands too.
Oh, absolutely.
So can we run kind of a, are both of these guys complete backs is the question.
Bijan is. I think Ramondre is a really good running back in this league. But it would help to have more of a burner.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's got great speed for his size, but he's in the words of Ric Flair, that's a real big dude.
Right.
So, I mean, it's an interesting report that I came across from The Athletic of, okay, things out of New England are getting out of that building at a level that I don't know that I've ever seen before. And the more I thought about it, the more it kind of makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, the thought that Bijan Robinson's somehow going to fall out of the top 20 in this class is I can't get there. I mean, I said it, we were talking about Arizona. If they get stuck, nobody's willing to – everybody calls their bluff. And what I'm going to say is going to sound insane when it comes out of my mouth, but I fully believe this. If Will Anderson was gone at 3 and they had to pick a player, I think there would be a legit fight in their war room between Christian Gonzalez and Bijan Robinson at 3.
Mm-hmm.
That's how good this kid is.
Mm-hmm. Depends on what do you think you're getting in these guys. To me, that would be a big part of the question. Do I think that Christian Gonzalez is the next best thing at cornerback? Is he going to be the next star, like a Sauce Gardner type guy, bust on the scene like that, or do I go with?
He's not a Sauce Gardner. Nobody believes that.
I know, but what I'm saying is, could he have that much success? Because if I'm spending a top 3 pick on him, I want him to.
That's why I said it that way. The answer is no. Right. No, there is nothing about him, and I'll even go. I'm trying to think of another corner that's gone that high. I mean, Christian Gonzalez would not be a top 5 corner in any other year that I could ever remember.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a path that they get stuck, and that's just what you got to do. There are very few players that you really know what you're getting. And I mean, I'm telling you, what I believe is happening is that we're officially at that point of teams are putting their draft boards together and going, wow, we have 14 first-round grades. Or in New England's case, we have 12 first-round grades, and we're picking 14.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do you do then? Am I taking a second-round graded player at 14? Nobody's going to move with you. I mean, the amount of teams that would be willing to trade up in this draft are thin at best. And so there's part of me that thinks that what Bill's doing right now is, okay, I will make chicken salad out of chicken excrement, and I'll sit at 14, and if Bijan's on the board, that's what I'm going to take.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is just a lot of projection that goes into a lot of these guys. They had 2 of your Georgia guys in today, Broderick Jones and Nolan Smith. Do I think either one of those guys should go at 14? Most classes, no. There's also a path that neither one of them are on the board when they get on the clock at 14.
Right.
And if that's the case, then yeah, I could see a path that the call at 14 for the New England Patriots would be Bijan Robinson.
Okay. All right. We shall have to wait and see. Adding him to Ramondre Stevenson would be a very interesting move for a team that's going to run the ball a lot, as is New England Patriot football.
Well, I mean, and the other thing you have to think about is look at the other teams in that division and how you build defenses to deal with them. Because you'll have Josh Allen that's got a big arm with two really good outside receivers. You'd have Aaron Rodgers that has, well, I'm not going to say any of the receivers are great outside of Garrett Wilson, but you have a lot of them. And then Tua Tagovailoa with two of the fastest receivers in the NFL. And then here comes New England that's just going to bludgeon you between the tackles. I mean, I think there's a merit to that.
Speaking of those Miami receivers, one of them says he's going to be done with football here pretty darn soon. We'll talk about that coming up in the next hour. When we come back from the break, though, it'll be time to get weird and another set of team draft needs. It's time to talk about the Chicago Bears.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Big change up to the weather scene for the next couple of days. We've been so warm here midweek, but northeast winds off the Atlantic drop the temperatures starting tomorrow. Some 1.5 inch rains for the valley Friday and Saturday as cold northeast winds take over for Easter weekend. We're in the mid-50s for tonight. Some thunderstorms rumbling around. Rain showers Friday, cooler, high 58, low 40. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic slow, 240 westbound between Charlotte Street and Montford Avenue. 26 westbound slowing between Airport Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. Again, 26 westbound slows approaching I-40. 40 westbound, Haywood County crawling between exit 27 and US 276. Sweeten Creek Road, north and southbound, approaching Mills Gap Road. Slow. Hendersonville Road, northbound in Fletcher, slows approaching Fanning Bridge Road. I'm Lee Minfield with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Total Wine & More. Always find what you love and love what you find at Total Wine & More. With so many bottles to choose from at the lowest price for over 30 years, it's easy to find your favorite Cabernet or a new single-barrel bourbon to try. Total Wine & More. Spirits not sold in Virginia and North Carolina. Drink responsibly. B21.
I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I love Navage. I've told you about how your nose is the body's air filter, that Navage's powered suction will help flush out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs, and that Navage will help you breathe better. But what do other people say about Navage? Like Ricardo, quote, "This is one of the greatest inventions ever. I know this may sound like I'm exaggerating, but this sucker is amazing. The first time I did it, I couldn't believe what came out of my sinuses. I could breathe with ease. My wife just bought one too. Thank you for this product," unquote. He's one of over 100,000 online reviews praising Navage, the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million people to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, CVS, Walgreens, Target, Rite Aid, and online. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E, clean nose, healthy life.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WBNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WBNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WBNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
Since man created roads, they've been looking for ways to get off-road and vehicles to take them there. That's where Outlaw Off-Road comes in. A premier off-road center for Jeeps, trucks, and SUVs with a complete lineup of off-road and overland services, including maintenance and repair to make your vehicle all that it can be. Check out their location right here in Western North Carolina at 85 Avery Creek Road. Call them today at 828-974-8480 or visit them on the web at theoutlawoffroad.com.
The siren song of the sea beckons with a bounteous treasure and a desire that must be fulfilled.
At Ingles, our extensive seafood department offers a huge variety from your local catch to flavors from around the world. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Yeah!
On the weird scale, there's Vegas, there's Florida, and there's Asheville. Let's get weird, Asheville.
Welcome back into the Sportsocracy, and let's get weird. So, privacy is a big thing these days. Everybody's, we've got all of these cameras at our disposal. We've got the Alexas in our houses that are listening to everything we say. There are the birds outside that are recording all of our movements and reporting back to the government. Well, Tesla apparently is... they're facing some heat right now because there's a story that has just come out about some of the footage from cameras on Teslas. So Teslas have like all of these cameras around the outside of the car to help with their data mining and such for basically driverless cars. So they take all of these images that the cars are sending back, and they're identifying certain things on the roads, and they're trying to build the network for self-driving cars. Well, those recordings go somewhere. And so...
To the birds.
Well, there's a story that apparently at Tesla Incorporated, for the last few years, there are office members who are having a whole lot of fun with this extra footage, this private footage, to where they would take screenshots of some, whatever the camera caught, and they would send it around as memes within the office. One of the most popular ones was a guy who walked up to a Tesla butt naked. Just walked out in the driveway to talk to whoever, and there's so-and-so. He's just completely naked.
Some people are way too confident with their own nudity.
Right. And I hope you don't have neighbors living close by. But there's also a privacy concern of, okay, so you got Tesla. You park it outside. You park it in your garage, right? You want to protect your investment. Well, the cameras can catch the inside of your house. One of the things that was going around was one of the owners of a Tesla had a submersible vehicle in their garage. This submersible vehicle, nicknamed Wet Nelly, the White Lotus Spirit sub that was featured in the 1977 James Bond film, The Spy Who Loved Me. And would you like to know who they were memeing when they were passing this around the office of, hey, look who's got this, James Bond villain car?
No clue.
It's Elon Musk. They took the footage off of Elon Musk's Tesla and was passing it around going, hey, look what the boss has in his garage. Elon Musk has not been returning any phone calls to be a part of this report and what exactly is happening with all of this information.
He's giving it to the birds.
I'm not real concerned. I just think it's funny that when a privacy concern comes up, the people in the office are going, hey, look what the boss has got in his garage.
Well, here's what I learned from that story. I will never, from here on out, call Tank Spencer anything but Wet Nelly.
Wet Nelly.
Bobby Bonilla is a very common story at the beginning of every baseball season because he makes so much money from a deal that he signed with the New York Mets. Well, I think I found one that might actually beat that. And it starts with Sean Diddy Combs. Do you remember the song I'll Be Missing You? Became really popular. It was him and Faith Evans after Notorious B.I.G. passed away.
Okay.
Well, there's a clip. The beat of that song basically is From Every Breath You Take.
Yes.
Well, this has always been kind of the subject of urban lore. How much did Diddy actually pay for that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, now we know.
Okay.
How much do you think that clip costs? And I say costs because it's still happening.
Oh, okay. $6 million.
It's $5,000 a day, every day, for the last 25 years.
Wow.
That adds up to $1.825 million a year.
Wow.
For a clip out of a song.
That's a hell of a deal.
I am in the wrong business.
Good for you, Sting.
Diddy did say, Sting and I, great friends, but there was a report that it was $2,000 a day. He went on Twitter to clarify, nope, $5K a day, love to my brother at Official Sting.
Wow.
I got some great agita from the thought of paying almost $2 million a year for a clip of a song.
Well, that's a drop in the bucket for him, though.
Yes, because Diddy is worth over $1 billion.
Is he really?
Yes, he is.
Good for him. Old Puff Daddy still getting it done. I like it. We were told in the chat nobody calls him Puff Daddy anymore.
Well, here's the thing. Nobody really knows what to call him, and I refuse to call him P. Diddy because that is stupid. I don't care how much money you have.
Is it Puffy? Is it P. Diddy? Is it Diddy? I have no idea.
Don't care. That's why I used his real name, which is Sean Combs.
That's right.
And that has not changed.
Good old Sean. This is the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. And the Sportsocracy, of course, is your central location for all things Draftmas. We've been going through each and every team in the NFL, giving you their draft needs for the upcoming 2023 NFL Draft at the end of this month. And it's time to talk about the Chicago Bears. Justin Fields, there was all that hullabaloo about what would the Bears do with the number 1 pick. Well, they traded it to the Carolina Panthers. They moved down to 9. And what can they do with that extra draft capital?
Well, I mean, look, I think the move off 1 was a home run. Now, I feel like I'm here again to tell you, the Bears fans of the world, you set yourself up of this is a make-or-break year for Justin Fields. Because now you have absolutely no excuse for not being better than you were. And if he's not, I got news for you. You're one of the teams that's going to be interested in Caleb Williams and Drake May next year.
Mm-hmm.
What I have been told is the Bears did their due diligence on all 4 quarterbacks that were high-end prospects in this class. They didn't value any of them above Justin Fields. So they built the roster, and they did a nice job of building the roster. I mean, I think they did quite nicely in free agency. You now are passable at every spot on this roster. I don't think there's a big glaring hole on this team of, oh, my God, we have to use that 9th pick on blank. Would I like to get a pass rusher? I would. I would like to get a pass rusher. It's not a mandatory.
Now, who's the best one? Who's the best one on that team?
The best pass rusher on that team?
Right.
It's not good.
That was kind of where I was going with that. Like, does TJ Edwards come in and be the best pass rusher you got?
I mean, I really like the linebacker core. I think you've done nice things with the secondary. And the addition to the offensive line, I'm not saying the talent can't get better. I'm saying there's nothing of, oh, my God, we're just completely destroyed because we're playing an XFL player in our starting lineup, because that's where you were.
Mm-hmm.
This roster was awful. Well, now you've gotten yourself up to the NFL level, which means at 9, they can take the best player available. I fully believe that it's probably going to be Paris Johnson, because there's just been a lot of rumble about him. I don't think you're going to throw another young guy into that secondary.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, even if Joey Porter was still on the board or something like that, I don't necessarily think that is what they would do. It would be great if there was a pass rusher. There's just not going to be. I don't see any path that without a doubt, Will Anderson, but even Tyree Wilson, I don't think he's getting that far. I'm
Miles
not sure.
Murphy.
Stop. I'm not sure Lucas Van Ness is going to get to 9. So, I mean, that's how desperate teams are for pass rushers. And then there's just a drop-off from there. And could you take Nolan Smith? Yeah, but I don't think he fits with this roster at all. And you've got a lot of other – this was the problem with Chicago. This is why I said when the report came out that they were shopping 1, and I said that Godfather offer is not coming. What I was saying is that they would have to get a Godfather offer because of how big the drop-off is from taking Will Anderson at 1 to whatever you're going to get at 9. Now, I do like Paris Johnson with them, because even if he had to play guard early on, I mean, yes, I know you've got 2 guards. He's better than them. I'm not averse to that. And so for Chicago, it's take the best player on the board every time you come up. Now, in what their needs actively are, I do think you need another corner, because I don't love the thought of starting Vildor on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
I think you need a pass rusher. If I was in charge of their draft board, I would have. There's about 5 players in every one of these spots. One of them's gonna be there. It's just a question of filling as many holes and bumping up the talent on this roster as quickly as you can. Because now you've got weapons. I mean, DJ Moore, Darnell Mooney, and Chase Claypool, trust me, there are worse receiving corps in this league than that.
Absolutely.
I've always loved Cole Kmet. You basically have 4 picks in the first 2 rounds because you've got the forfeit pick. So you got 4 in the top 64. I want to add an edge. I want to add a corner. I want to add an offensive lineman. And then the other pick, yeah, it would be nice if we could get a stuffer in the middle of that defense. But if it's not there, it's not there. The Bears have kind of the opposite problem of the Raiders, who we talked about earlier. Their needs are in large part at places that are deep. It's just if you get on the wrong side of a run and – all right, so defensive tackle. That's a position I would love for the Bears to address at some point over the course of these 3 days.
Okay.
If you get on the wrong side of the Mozzie Smith, Gervin Dexter, Siaki Ika run, I mean, you could go 2 rounds before there is another player that even makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see Chicago moving around the board. They have 4 in the top 64, and then they have, another 4 in the next 100 picks? Yep. So you got 8 in the top 148. I'm moving around the board. I'm going to identify 4 players that I want to come away from this draft with, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And the start of it for me is Paris Johnson.
Okay.
That's at number 9. That is the guy I want because I think he has the highest upside and he fills a need.
Would you take him over Peter Skoronski?
I would, but this is one of the only teams where I would take him over Skoronski.
Okay.
For me, it's the Titans and the Bears. Those 2, I would have Skoronski behind him because in both of their schemes, I think he slots in as a guard.
Okay.
And at best, he's a right tackle. I don't think he can be the blindside protector in an offense that's going to be built this way. Now, with, say, the Jets, I don't have that fear because he's so nimble and so agile that he can get out in front, and I know there's going to be some of those zone elements there. Plus, I got a veteran quarterback back behind me. So if what the big knock on Skoronski is he's got short arms. So some of these bigger, more physically imposing pass rushers, I hate when people say, well, have their way with him. No, they won't. He's far better than that.
Right.
The thing to remember about Justin Fields is no matter how you feel about him, he holds onto the ball for a really long time. And so I want, as Brian Haynes always called him, the high-mollies that can hold up in that. I'm not so sure Skoronski, that's not pandering to what it is that he does. I think it is pandering to Paris Johnson. And then I'm going to take one of those edge guys. I'm going to take a corner, and I'm going to feel pretty good about what my roster looks like. Am I young? Yeah. I don't think even the most delusional Bears fan will tell you, oh, we're going to make the playoffs this year. Well, that's probably.
No, they will. They will.
Yeah. I'm the one that answers the YouTube comments. Trust me, I know.
Say, of all people, you should know.
Trust me, I know.
That they are out there.
But look, I think Ryan Poles has done a masterful job here. This free agency, because if you remember what I told you, going in with the Bears, because they had $100 million in salary cap space, my fear was that you're going to start throwing stupid money at guys like Orlando Brown or Javon Hargrave, and a year from now, that's not going to look as palatable.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not a piece away. You needed to build the roster. And I think he's done a really good job of that. But the thing you also have to look at is they got an extra one next year. They got an extra 2 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you do that? That, my friends, is called a safety net.
Yeah, to give yourself flexibility.
If Justin Fields does not develop with this roster, and look, I've said this 100 times. If he does, I'll admit I'm wrong. I don't think it's coming. I don't. You've got the flexibility. Next year, there is no spot. It does not matter where you land. There is no spot that you cannot get up to get one of those quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
So this is and this is weird to say for a team that hasn't really been competitive in the last several years. This is a real make or break year for this roster. Because a lot of it I look at and go, okay, this is going to be here for the long haul. But you got one big question mark at quarterback that people are just chalking up that everything's hunky-dunky. And you could be right.
Mm-hmm.
You could be wrong.
But can we make Justin Fields be the next guy to break through? Can he be the next Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts? Can he be that guy?
Can he? Sure.
To take the step. I think he's got all the talent too. I just don't know that he's got the coaching too.
I've long had that issue, and that becomes a very circular argument of name me the coaching staff the Bears have had in the last 40 years that's actually developed a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And look, there's a reason that happens. Because your scouting department and a lot of things in the front office stay the same. There's a reason you keep missing on quarterbacks. So is it possible that Justin Fields could be a high-level quarterback in this league? Sure. Absolutely. I said there was no shot with Jalen Hurts because he had such an elongated throwing motion. Well, I got the Philadelphia Eagles scouting department that's putting pieces around him. They went and got A.J. Brown, who I don't think I could have carved a receiver out of granite that would have been better for Jalen Hurts than him. I feel like Ryan Poles has done a good job of putting talent around Justin Fields. Do I think this is a high-level roster? No. I still think you're in the 20s. But now you're not the most depleted roster that I've ever seen. Now you need to hit, I mean, just looking at their draft board, you need to hit one home run, a solid stand-up double, and a series of singles. And then you've got a roster that now you will know what you have in Justin Fields. But there is no position that I have to shoehorn myself into.
This is the Sportsocracy, and you're listening on ESPN Asheville and the iHeartRadio app. We'll be right back.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is slowing east and westbound on 240 on the Captain Jeff Bowen Bridge. 26 westbound slowing between Fanning Bridge Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. 40 westbound slow near George's Branch Road. 40 westbound in Haywood County crawling between exit 27 and US 276. Sweeten Creek Road, north and southbound, approaching Mills Gap Road is slow. Checking the drive time from West Asheville to Biltmore Village via Meadow Road, drive time 12 minutes. I'm Lyndon Fuel with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Total Wine and More.
Know what time it is? It's diner time. And now Denny's presents the new Diner Classics Plus menu with instant classics like the new Spicy Moons made with spicy chorizo and jalapenos or the new red, white, and blue buttermilk pancakes. Craving breakfast, lunch, dinner, or anything in between? At Denny's, it's diner time.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. But not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hey everyone, it's Cassidy Hubbarth from ESPN.
I'm Nico Ramos, a sports broadcaster here in Manila.
Together, we have a new podcast we can't wait to share with you. Hoops Paradise, the Philippines' love of the game.
You know, there's religion, there's politics, and there's basketball. And those are the 3 things you talk about in the Philippines.
It's a basketball love affair like no other. Listen to Hoops Paradise, the Philippines' love of the game, on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
At Ingles, whether we're celebrating Friday night rivals, televising college basketball games, bringing the Fan Fest to semi-pro soccer, or taking you out to the ball game at your minor league park, it's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at RogueCombatClub.com.
Tired of getting dinged by monthly fees on your checking account? You need Simple Checking from Home Trust Bank. With Simple Checking, you get all the essential checking services for free, including 100% online access and a free Visa debit card. It's everything you need from a checking account, but no hoops, no surprises, no monthly fees. Stop by today or call 800-627-1632. Simple Checking at Home Trust. Ready for what's next. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Welcome back into the Sportsocracy, coming to you live from the Ingles Studio. As always, follow us on all the social medias at the Sportsocracy. It is the opening round of the Masters in Augusta. Leaders are in the clubhouse at the moment. Victor Hovland and Jon Rahm, 7 under for the tournament. Rahm started out the day pretty poorly. A double bogey on the first hole, and then he birdied 4 of the last 6 to finish tied for the lead going into the clubhouse. Brooks Koepka has 1 hole to play in his round today. He's at 6 under so far. Cameron Young is at 5 under. Those are your current leaders down in Augusta. You got several guys that are just behind or just behind the leaders that I gave you. You got Shane Lowry in there. I told you how much I like the Irish guys yesterday. Xander Schauffele is at 4 under as well. And you've still got Bennett hanging on to Sam Bennett, the amateur, hanging on to a 4 under round so far.
Yeah. If he makes the cut, he should be real happy. I'm telling you, the next 2 days here are going to be evil.
Mm-hmm.
Because when the course gets wet at Augusta, that course becomes just, I mean, it's almost unbeatable. If you are not crushing it off the tee, then, I mean, you can see some really high numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow and Saturday are going to be really, really interesting because the forecast says it's going to be gnarly.
Mm-hmm. Other guys still on the course at the moment. You got Sam Burns that is through 11 right now. He's at 4 under. Jordan Spieth is through 10 at the moment. He's 4 under as well. So you got a lot of contenders here after during the first round of the tournament here. How many can hang on through the weekend?
I will say if you didn't go 1 under or better today, you're already out of contention.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's going to be so hard to make shots up over the weekend.
Tiger Woods, 2 over.
Yeah, Tiger. You know when Tiger was out of contention? Tuesday. It was over before it began.
It's not great. It's not great to see Tiger in this state. You know,
the fact he shot 2 over today is borderline shocking.
He had a couple of good shots, but for the most part, it's just he's not there physically. You can see it as he's walking the course.
He said that before the tournament.
Right. You can see it as he's walking the course. I will not be shocked that this will be his last Masters.
I don't necessarily know if it will be his last. He said today that his Masters days are numbered.
Mm-hmm.
And I just struggle to believe he's not going to keep showing up. But is he ever going to be competitive again? No. We got that one shot a few years ago where he won it. It was special. Now it's over.
Yeah. And I don't think that he's the kind of guy that will keep going.
He may not be. We said that same thing about Jack too.
True.
So I mean, it's sad to see, but the days of him competing here are long over.
All right, the daily draft is coming up after the Sports Center update, and whether there's some rumors that a couple of NFL teams are going to get some new uniforms, including our hometown Carolina Panthers. So, Jeremy and I in the daily draft, we're going to pick what are the best uniforms in the NFL.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Big change up to the weather scene for the next couple of days. We've been so warm here midweek, but northeast winds off the Atlantic drop the temperatures starting tomorrow. Some 1.5 inches rains for the valley Friday and Saturday as cold northeast winds take over for Easter weekend. We're in the mid-50s for tonight. Some thunderstorms rumbling around. Rain showers Friday, cooler, high 58, low 40. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is slowing east and westbound on 240 on the Captain Jeff Bowen Bridge. 26 westbound slowing between Fanning Bridge Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. 40 westbound slow near George's Branch Road. 40 westbound in Haywood County crawling between exit 27 and US 276. Sweeten Creek Road, north and southbound, approaching Mills Gap Road, is slow. Checking the drive time from West Asheville to Biltmore Village via Meadow Road, drive time 12 minutes. I'm Lyndon Fuel with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. Shop Springfest at Lowe's today and save big on select major appliances. Get an additional $100 off select laundry pairs when you spend $1,296 or more. Valid through 4/12. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Exclusions apply. See Lowes.com for details.
It pays to be a pro at Lowe's. Right now, save big on DeWalt power tools, accessories, and more. Plus, find big savings on job-like quantities when buying in bulk because Lowe's knows pros. While supplies last, minimum purchase required. Selection varies by location. Lowe's reserves the right to limit quantities.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Doug Brown. The 87th Masters is underway today at Augusta National. Live coverage of featured groups and holes on ESPN+. Brooks Koepka, John Rahm, and Victor Hovland share the lead at 7 under 65 today. Tiger Woods with a 2 over 74. The NBA regular season ends Sunday. The Knicks and Cavaliers will meet in a first-round playoff series, but ESPN's Tim Bontemps says neither team will go far.
Neither of those teams could beat Milwaukee in a series. Neither of those teams are as good as Joel Embiid and the Sixers or Jason Tatum and the Celtics. They've had great seasons, and they're moving in the right direction, but it's a three-horse race in the East for sure.
Tim Bontemps on Fitz and Harry. Mets catcher Omar Narvaez will go on the injured list with a left calf strain. The Mets believe a typical timeline for recovery would be 8 to 9 weeks. The Frozen Four about to face off in Tampa. It's live right now on ESPN2 with Minnesota against Boston University in the first semifinal. It'll be followed by Michigan and Quinnipiac.
If you're experiencing a spring hiring rush, then you need Indeed. Their powerful all-in-one hiring platform makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates all in one place. Want to find your next great hire? Visit Indeed.com/credit.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, Bills. That's Bills. Enter it now.
Log on now to ESPNAVL.com.
He's a degenerate gambler.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
And he's cheaper than oxygen.
He's useless.
But somehow, they make it work. Jeremy Greene, Tank Spencer. There's no holding back in the Sportsocracy. Presented by Ingles Supermarkets and Fred Anderson Nissan of Asheville.
It is the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville. You're listening on 92.9 FM, 880 AM, 1400, or everywhere on the iHeart Radio app. You can also see us when we're live here in the Ingles studio on YouTube. Go to thesportsocracy.com, click that live video link, subscribe to the channel so you can join us in the chat. And you may want to get in on this next one. We got the daily draft here at the top of the third hour of the program. And so apparently the Arizona Cardinals and the Carolina Panthers are getting reimagined, new designed uniforms for the 2023 season. Is that right?
Which both need, specifically Arizona. What in the XFL? I have thought for years good Lord, those are awful.
It's awful?
Oh, they're awful.
All right.
But that got us talking
I never thought about it.
Of which teams, and now this is not throwbacks. This is the jersey you wear every Sunday. We've done throwbacks in the past, but we've never talked about, hey, who's the best that you just wear every Sunday?
Who's the standard home jersey? What's the best for each and every NFL team?
And this is a day that I'm really glad that I have the number one pick because for me, it's not even close.
God, if this is the Jets, it's full home.
No. I mean, I might take them later, but you can see their helmets from space. So, okay. The black ones, though, are sweet. It's the Los Angeles Chargers, and it's not even close. Those powder blues, when they reimagine these uniforms, and you got the dark blue and the light blue, and oh, yeah. I mean, they're still not as good as their throwbacks, but they have the best jersey in the NFL. It's the only jersey in this league that I would wear that was not my own team.
Okay.
And you only are allowed to wear jerseys to sporting events, not to work, not looking at anybody specifically, except maybe the gent across the aisle from me that is actively wearing a jersey.
100%. And that's not going to change.
Is that a practice jersey?
It is a practice jersey.
Jersey is that?
I don't know. It's from like 1982. So
couldn't tell.
It doesn't have a name on the back. It's just a jersey.
Yeah. And Tank woke up this morning and went, fashion statement. Let's do that.
Exactly. Host a sports show. Names on the door. I'll wear what the hell I want. What are you, cop? Okay, so you're going with the Chargers. Now, do the powder blues count? Because they're not their everyday jersey.
Oh no, we're just talking about whose jerseys are the best. So you get the home, the road, and the alternate.
Oh,
this is not the throwbacks that now they're allowed to wear this year. So like Philadelphia, you don't get the Kelly green. You get the green, you get the white, you get the black.
I don't know. I thought they had a story the other day that the Kellys were coming back for good, didn't they?
Well, they are, but they're still a throwback.
They're
they're not in the natural rotation.
Okay. All right. Well, number one overall, it's been my favorite NFL uniform forever. I talk super smack about this team, but the look you can't really argue with to me, and it's the Las Vegas Raiders. From their time in L.A. to Oakland, it's all been the silver and black.
Well, they're very classic.
Right. To me, it's a classic look. It's the most intimidating of all of the uniforms in the NFL. I like the Raiders uniforms. I had to throw that last part in there. Confuse people.
I mean, nobody was going to get confused that you like the Raiders. You've hated on them every single year.
But the best part about that organization is the uniforms. All right, everything considered. See, I thought you, when you said this, you were just going just home jerseys. So
no.
To me, that changes things up a little bit.
There's only one team you can say here that I'll get really mad about because I went full draft day. There's two teams no matter what.
Well, my number 2 is the Baltimore Ravens.
No!
It's the purple and black. Something about
so sweet.
Ever since they became a franchise in the NFL, it's been the best look they had. I'm glad they changed the logo. That original like front face Raven logo was terrible.
Yeah, but they're basically every jersey they've ever had has been just absolute fire.
Absolutely. And if I got to pick, the black ones are the favorites.
See, to me, I like them all. I think Baltimore is one of the few teams that I'm not like, okay, this one's really good, and that one's fine, and this one's awful. They're all three really good.
Mm-hmm.
That was the second team. And that makes me angry. All right, there was a third one that I was going to take right here because I really thought you were going to go the classic look teams. It's the Cincinnati Bengals. When they redesigned and I don't even think I get the.
Oh, do you get the white ones? Do you get the white tiger?
No, because that's like a color rush. But for me, just the standard 3, the home, the away, and the alternate, they're really, really good. I've never been in love with the helmet, but I get it. But the jerseys are just really clean. There's another team I know I don't have to take here because I know you hate theirs. So I will save them for later.
Okay.
If I get the white tiger with the Bengals, then I think I just won this.
You should have done that number 1.
The white
the white tiger.
Oh, they're so good.
Yeah.
The Philadelphia Eagles. I don't know why. I've always thought theirs are just clean as they can be. And I'm not wild about the Kelly green. I know that's like sacrilege to any Eagles fan. I think your standard ones are better than anything you've ever had. And I absolutely hate the helmet with the Kelly green, where there's no definition on the wing whatsoever. Hate that. But the standard ones are phenomenal.
It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me, but okay. I'll
What?
Get it. I like the I don't know. Anyway, my next pick will be the Minnesota Vikings.
And I detest that
Why?
one. Oh, I hate that one.
Ever since they
It's the matte helmet that I just despise.
that's what sells it for me. Ever since they redid the helmet and it's that matte finish, I love that. To me, it makes it pop. I love the way that the I don't know what you call it, the little hook, the little point on the end of the numbers. I really like that aspect of the uniforms for some reason. I think the Minnesota Vikings look sharp. And then it's hard to go against classics. Some of them are just so good.
There's one that you haven't
But
said.
there's one that it's not a classic. And I don't know if you're at risk of taking this one or not, but I feel like anybody who's taken best uniforms in the NFL, somebody's got to have the Seattle Seahawks.
It was on my list.
Because with that neon green accent. Now, look, the color rushes where they went full-on green tops, no, I'm out.
Did you just say tops?
I think I did.
Okay.
What? You don't like that? You don't like that word?
You do you. Not here to judge you.
I've. It took a while. I used to think they were a complete abomination, and then after a while, it kind of grew on me, and now I think that's one of the best looks in the NFL.
Well, I knew there was one that I had no risk of you taking because you and I have argued about this since these came out.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Washington Commanders.
Terrible.
Theirs are
disgusting,
awesome, and they're all good.
No,
that's the.
There's not a good one in the bunch.
Oh yeah, the black one is phenomenal. I like the white one. I like the red one, and the helmets are just clean. You didn't try to do too much. It just stays nice, and I love theirs. And then the last one. I have to because I've loved this one forever, and I love that they went back to the old kind of throwback look. Nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills. That white jersey is as clean as it possibly could ever be. I mean, and the red, white, and blue, which is obviously a color combination that I'm very fond of.
Clean is a different way to say boring, but okay.
I don't think they're boring.
I do.
Now look, I hated the red helmet with the blue, the Jim Kelly. Oh, that was an assault on your eyeballs. This is just much cleaner.
I don't know. There are some classics that I look at and I go, I like that, and there are other classics that go, yeah, it's just old and boring.
Yeah,
like the Buffalo Bills, the New York Giants, they all, even the New England Patriots, they fall into the same category of me as that's just old and boring.
In our YouTube comments, GG Gambling said, how neither of you have said the white Rams uniform is blasphemy. Your numbers are in like gel ink, which is immediate disqualification for me.
Yeah.
The fact that you have like a tactile number on your jersey, I'm out.
Right. It's like some 14-year-old girl in love got a glitter pen and drew it on her
and that's
on her notebook.
all I can think of when I look at the Rams jersey. I mean, they're fine. Yeah. I don't love the dead goat logo that you went to. I don't really understand why. Somebody needs to feed that goat because it looks like it's going to die very soon.
It's been dead. It's been left in the desert for a long, long time. Pick that one up on your trek between L.A. and Las Vegas out in the middle of nowhere. The last one is a classic, and like I said, it's hard to say no to some of the classics, and to me, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I just don't understand. I've never understood the logo.
It's the steel logo.
Well, I mean,
it's the Steelworkers of America, right?
And that's fine. The best logo the Steelers ever had was the throwback. Now, you can't put that on the helmet. I'm well aware of that. It's classic.
With the guy on the I-beam kicking the football, yeah.
HWA is a big Steelers fan, and virtually the only way I can make myself okay with buying the Steelers stuff is if it's that logo. And I'm pretty sure she just heard me say that, and I just, oh, wait. Everything he's ever bought me has had that. Yep, sure has.
Sure has.
Because it's pretty sweet.
I've never really understood the why you only have it on one side of the helmet thing.
Yeah, I don't get that.
It hasn't made a whole lot of sense to me, but it's something about that look. the classic logo, the blank side on one side, and the numbers split up on the back of the helmet.
And I'm dumbfounded you didn't find some way to take your team here.
Hell no.
Really?
These aren't as bad as the alarm clock ones, but they're not great.
The alarm clock ones were awful. That looked like something straight out of the XFL.
They were absolutely terrible. It was the worst.
The pewter one.
It was the worst jersey in the NFL. We've talked about this. I don't even like I don't even like the pewter one.
Oh, I do. I think that's the sweetest one you have.
It's nice, but my team doesn't belong on this list.
All right, just as a total aside, and I'll give you carte blanche here because I'm pretty sure you're not going to take the team I say. Worst uniform in the league is.
Oh God.
Because for me, it's not even close.
Probably the Jets.
You stop that. You stop that. Those black Jet uniforms are sweet, and you know it.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
I'll give you that one.
Yeah. That's well, that counts.
Oh, the Atlanta Falcons.
That's who I thought you were going to say.
Yeah. Atlanta Falcons was the right call there.
Every time. So, obviously, we watch games together on Sundays. Village Porch out in North Asheville. Every time the Atlanta Falcons come on a screen, he goes off for 5 solid minutes on how awful those uniforms are.
Well, it's the ATL across the top of the number that I don't really get, and then they have the gradient one, the one that goes red to fade to black down toward the pants. I'm good.
For me, it's the Houston Texans. It's not even close.
See, that falls right into the category of Buffalo Bills, New England Patriots, New York Giants. Like you just went, hey, there's a random red, white, and blue scheme. Let's do that.
Oh, and I'm going to tell you something that I realized about this a long time ago. And once I tell you, you'll never unsee it. The logo's not centered on the helmet. It's too low.
Too low?
It's always driven me nuts because the little bull, because it's very oblong, they can't get it. I mean, they always do it on purpose because you got 53 helmets that have it in the same spot. It's too low. It looks ridiculous when you see their helmet out by itself.
It's because they had to get the star in the middle.
And I'm sure it was something stupid like that.
I'm sure it was. The star in the middle of the Texans logo, the eye of the bull, that's what we want in the middle of the helmet. It does look a little weird now that you say it, and I never really thought about it before now.
I've never had a person tell me, I've always thought that. But as soon as I say it, then you can't unsee it. And every time you watch them, you're like, it's supposed to go up like an inch and a half. It looks stupid.
I mean, I looked up a couple of rankings of this just to see what others in our business are talking about and how they feel about these jerseys. And I didn't realize it was so bad with the Carolina Panthers and the Arizona Cardinals. Widely hated, apparently.
Well, they're bland. I mean, Carolina has one of the coolest color palettes in the NFL.
No doubt.
And I never liked the big hoop around the arms. You could do so many cool things with that, and they just never have. And I feel like somebody in the comments said it's just going to be a color adjustment for the Panthers. Until I see that, I'm not going to believe it.
Right.
Because I feel like David Tepper is looking at this going, okay, we can change this now. We have the franchise quarterback coming in. It's a full relaunch, and he's thinking about the marketing.
Right, but the question becomes, like, how crazy do you get? How new do we want to be? Do we want to go, like, full-on cat scratches for the, claw marks on the shoulders or something?
I'm not averse to that.
I'm not either. I would love to see what it looks like. I think the black helmets were a step forward. You need to make that your everyday helmet. I would love to see the black helmet, with the blue face mask, with the, what do they call that? I forgot what they call the blue. There's a certain name for it. I can't remember what it is, like power blue or something. It's not powder blue. But I love it. I mean, you could do so many things with the Carolina Panthers. I think they need to stick with blue jerseys.
See, I'm a fan of black and white. That's why I was going to take the Raiders. That's the only, old school one that I really like.
Green Bay, San Francisco, these are all teams that always end up at the top of these lists because it's such a classic look. I like a little newer. The Jacksonville Jaguars aren't that far off since they changed their helmets.
Yeah.
When they changed from the gold fade helmets like the Atlanta Falcons did with their jerseys, it doesn't look so bad. I like the teal color. Of course, maybe that's my Charlotte Hornets fandom coming out as well. You are in the Sportsocracy. This is ESPN Asheville. And, we got one top star wide receiver in the NFL that says his days in this league are numbered. We'll give you that story next.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Driving slowing 240 eastbound between exit 3 and exit 4A. 240 westbound on the Cap and Jeff Bowen Bridge, very busy. 26 westbound slow between Airport Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. 40 westbound slow between US 1923 exit 44 Smoky Park Highway and before George's Branch Road. An accident has the shoulder blocked in this stretch. 40 westbound in Haywood County crawling between exit 27 and US 276. Near Avery Creek, Boulevard Road northbound approaching Long Shoals Road is slow. Sweeten Creek Road northbound approaching Mills Gap Road slow. I'm Lee Minfield with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by GetRefunds.com.
I'm Howard Mackler, founder of Innovation Refunds. If you own a business and still haven't applied for the payroll tax refund, we want to pay a licensed tax attorney to see if you're eligible to receive up to $26,000 per employee. Go to GetRefunds.com, GetRefunds.com.
Cleaning the inside of your house is easy, but the outside is where most people need a little help. WNC Wash Pros are the highest rated exterior cleaning company in North Carolina with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Whether you need your walkways pressure washed or the outside of the house scrubbed clean, we will kill all organic growth to preserve your paint and extend the life of your roof with our gentle and soft approach. Call us at 828-560-WASH or visit our website at WNCWashPros.com for a free estimate today.
Everybody is buzzing about Yellow Jackets on Showtime, including the cast.
This season will blow your mind. I actually dropped to the floor. Kind of freaky, kind of gory, and it's a little bit funny.
It's endlessly fascinating. I think people are going to freak out when they see that.
It's going to be real fun. If I wasn't on this show, I'd be watching just as fiercely.
This season of Yellow Jackets is wild.
If you haven't watched this show yet, get to it!
Yellow Jackets, new episodes streaming now, only on Showtime. And now, stream Showtime on Paramount+.
The siren song of the sea beckons with a bounteous treasure and a desire that must be fulfilled.
At Ingles, our extensive seafood department offers a huge variety from your local catch to flavors from around the world. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Yeah!
Rogue Combat Club, Asheville's home for comprehensive martial arts training, has a goal for our community, one that's stronger, more fit, and unwavers in its support of one another. Rogue Combat Club's instructors have competed at the highest levels and offer classes for everyone from young children to adults in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and wrestling. Rogue Combat Club classes can help you boost your self-confidence and self-defense skills while weeding out the egos and intimidation found at other gyms. Join today at RogueCombatClub.com.
Since man created roads, they've been looking for ways to get off-road and vehicles to take them there. That's where Outlaw Off-Road comes in. A premier off-road center for Jeeps, trucks, and SUVs with a complete lineup of off-road and overland services, including maintenance and repair to make your vehicle all that it can be. Check out their location right here in Western North Carolina at 85 Avery Creek Road. Call them today at 828-974-8480 or visit them on the web at theoutlawoffroad.com.
I believe real estate isn't about properties. It's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt-Zach with eXp Realty, serving all of Western North Carolina. Navigating the home buying and selling journey can feel overwhelming at times, and that's why having an agent who cares about you and your needs is key. I'm a native of Western North Carolina, and I close over a home a week. I'm an expert in the market, pricing my sellers correctly to net you the most money, and working as a skilled negotiator for my buyers. Please give me a call today at 828-774-6343 to set up a complimentary market analysis.
The Sportsocracy.
Why are you smiling?
Because I love football.
We've got one star wide receiver in the NFL that says he's ready to call it quits. Well, not right now. Not right now, but at the end of his next this contract, TYREEK HIll says he will be done playing in the NFL. So his current contract runs through the 2025 season, which means
23, 24, 25.
3 more years, and the Cheetah will call it quits. Are you surprised?
No.
I'm not either.
No, I mean this is a receiver that his entire career is based off speed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how well do you think that's going to age?
Right. There seem to be a lot of people that are upset by this or shocked by this, and I don't really get it. I feel like there's nothing wrong with the Barry Sanders rule. There's nothing wrong with the Tiki Barber rule. I said I was going to play this game for 10 years, and then I'm walking away. Barry could have played longer. He could have destroyed every stat there ever was in the NFL.
Barry's still the one that walked away, and it dumbfounded me the most.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Andrew Luck was just demolished by the time he walked away.
Right.
But, I mean, to me, it's not even surprising to me.
He says he wants to play through the 2025 season, and then he wants to get into the business side of the sport. So whether that means being an agent or whether that means, just being a spokesperson, I mean, he is going to be everywhere. He's a star on social media, can be. And he's also been doing really well with his video gaming. So
if you had told me when I was 8 years old that there would come a time where you could play video games professionally, I would have said you were intoxicated.
Right. He's very into the esports stuff. So will he, does he own a team already? Will he own a team by then? Will he be, the champion of the esports revolution or what? Who knows?
Well, I mean, I'm not shocked that a 5'10", 190-pound receiver's going, I think 31 is probably good enough for me.
Right.
So now the bigger question that I have is, if the Dolphins knew that, do you think they would have given up as much as they did to get him?
No.
I disagree with you.
Really?
I think, for me, I've always looked at the contract going, they expected this to last about 3 to 4 years. You're in a window there. Because that's been discussed on social media all day of, do you think he told the Dolphins? No, I don't think he told the Dolphins.
Why would he?
But if you were expecting much more than that, then I'm not sure you're paying really close attention.
Right. When I'm trying to negotiate a contract, I want to make the most money possible. I'm not going to let it out that, hey, by the way, I think I got maybe 4 years left. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense when you think about it that way. I'm trying to get max dollars here. Why would I tell you that I'm thinking about anything other? Because that's the first thing that would come to my mind.
Well, I mean, and think about how many receivers in the NFL that are over 31 years old. I mean, first of all, name me one that's still really high level. Not many of them. I mean, going into this year, of the top, I'm looking at the top 40 receivers in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how many of them are even 30 years old?
3.
4. Tyler Lockett, Keenan Allen, DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Adams. That's it. So, I mean, to me, this is just one of those stories that you're making it more than it is. I mean, look at Adam Thielen. He's a perfect example because he's 32. Do you think he's the same receiver he was 3 years ago?
Good Lord, no.
Good Lord, no. And you got Tyreek Hill, who, yes, I've always said he was a little bit of an overrated route runner. He's just ridiculously fast, and he is really good at settling in the middle of his zone.
Mm-hmm.
He finds a hole in his zone probably better than any shifty receiver I've ever seen.
Excellent with the ball in his hands.
So, I mean, and I see this is trending everywhere. Oh, I can't believe Tyreek Hill. Receivers age like dairy products. I mean, there's nothing surprising about this.
And there's also the thought of, how much money do I need to make?
Do you know what the last year of his contract is? It's a void year. It's $46 million.
Okay.
I think he's going to do just fine.
Absolutely.
And then he's going to walk away.
Right.
And by the way, it's not an irony that you look at 30-year-old Odell Beckham Jr., 30-year-old Jarvis Landry, 32-year-old Adam Thielen, 30-year-old DeAndre Hopkins. Weird. They've either been free agents or they've been available, and none of them had the market that we would think.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's just not many of them. Adam Thielen is the oldest receiver in the top 100, and he's 32.
Think about speedster wide receivers that kept going, that kept pushing after that. I'm thinking of like Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah,
that guy played forever, but he wasn't worth anything in his later years.
No, I mean, and once the speed goes away, what do you really have?
Right, then that's when it comes down to technique. And, it takes a little bit of a different. I'm not saying he can't do it. Just he hasn't done it yet.
And I mean, if we're being really honest, Deshaun Jackson fell off a cliff at about 31.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we talk about this with the running backs. The same thing applies to receivers. It just lasts a little while longer. The receivers get that second contract. Running backs, in large part, don't, unless they're really special, like Saquon Barkley and a few others.
Yeah.
To me, this is one of the stories that I read it and I went, are we really freaking out about this?
Well, it's a talking point. It's a dead period here before the draft. Not everybody has Flostradamus Jeremy Greene at their side to be able to lean on for breakdowns of every position group and all of that. So when a story like this comes out, obviously you have to talk about it. Tyreek Hill is one of the biggest stars in the NFL. And for a guy to call it quits, it causes a lot of questions. Although I don't think people are thinking about this logically. There are other guys that retired early that were a bit of a surprise to us. Well, Andrew Luck. But there were reasons why.
Injuries.
Luke Kuechly. There were
injuries.
Right. I mean, at some point, you got to come to it and say, my body's not going to be able to hold up to this.
To me, this whole story was Tyreek Hill saying, I'm not going to be one of those guys that hangs on after the skills start to diminish. Exactly. I have bigger things to do, and once I'm not a 4-3 guy anymore, I'm not Tyreek Hill anymore.
You got to respect that.
Mm-hmm.
I think you got to respect it, and you got to respect the fact that he's even being open about it. Could have been worse. He could have never said this. And then 3 years from now, just been like, no, I'm done. And then where would we be? They're right back here in the same spot going, oh, my God.
They came out of nowhere.
Right. Would the Dolphins have still done the trade? Maybe. Would they have given up as much to get him? That I'm not so certain about.
Yes. You could not possibly be looking at Tyreek Hill going, he's going to be here for 10 years. Think about every receiver. And I saw somebody in the GG Gambling. Devin Hester, Dante Hall was the one I was thinking of. Man, you remember how electric he was for 3 years?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, not anymore. Because he did one thing. He beat fast real good. I mean, and Tyreek Hill's better than that. But to me, it's just a non-story. Mm-hmm. You got 3 more years of him. The skills will diminish at the end of it, and then he'll be gone. As many other receivers have in the past.
Coming up next here in the Sportsocracy, it's time for the most important message of the day. Don't do crimes.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Big change up to the weather scene for the next couple of days. We've been so warm here midweek, but northeast winds off the Atlantic drop the temperatures starting tomorrow. Some 1.5 inch rains for the valley Friday and Saturday as cold northeast winds take over for Easter weekend. We're in the mid-50s for tonight. Some thunderstorms rumbling around. Rain showers Friday, cooler, high 58, low 40. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Driving slow in 240 eastbound between exit 3 and exit 4A. 240 westbound on the Captain Jeff Bowen Bridge, very busy. 26 westbound slow between Airport Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. 40 westbound slow between US 1923 exit 44 Smoky Park Highway and before George's Branch Road. An accident has the shoulder blocked in this stretch. 40 westbound in Haywood County crawling between exit 27 and US 276. Near Avery Creek, Bavard Road northbound approaching Long Shoals Road is slow. Sweeten Creek Road northbound approaching Mills Gap Road slow. I'm Lee Minfield with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Napa Auto Parts. When your ride fires on all cylinders, so do you. That's why Napa is on a mission to keep you in motion. With nearly 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores and over 17,000 Napa Auto Care centers, the Napa network has everything you need to get up and go.
Over 50,000 police officers are assaulted each year. Help police by not escalating. Address any complaints after the encounter. Comply now, complain later. Keep everybody safe. This message brought to you by the National Police Association. Learn more at nationalpolice.org.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're starting to speak another language, like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
Babbel.
Babbel. Go to babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
Our communities are filled with wonderful people who make living here great. At Home Trust Bank, we're proud of that. And that's why we focus on helping homeowners prepare for what's next. Our local mortgage bankers have the experience you need and exceptional personal service you'll appreciate. Home Trust Bank is ready to help make a house your home. When it's time to buy, visit your local Home Trust branch or go to htb.com/mortgage.
At Ingles, we know that big dreams don't always make it to the big leagues. But we also know that baseball, it's family. It's about building character. And as sure as there'll be some stumbles on that journey from first to home, we'll be right there, cheering you on. This is baseball, and this is who we are. Ingles, we're with you every step of the way.
Welcome back into the Sportsocracy inside the Ingles studio, and it's time for the most important message of the day.
Don't do crimes!
Yeah. Give you one guess where this story takes place.
Florida.
That's right. It's always Florida. We go to Brevard County, Florida, where a man caused some trouble over the weekend at a local bar. So this guy named Travis Jordan. Excuse me.
Don't you slander the name of my quarterback.
It's not Jordan Travis. Travis Jordan, 39 years old. He was at a bar on Sunday, and he was drinking. And they were singing karaoke. And Travis gets up there, and he does his song. And as anybody who's drunk in a bar on, 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Sunday singing karaoke, it was hard to get him off the stage. You ever have that problem? Jeremy, you've done thousands of karaoke shows.
Oh, yeah. There are several issues that come with karaoke. And the biggest one is, me sing picture, but get rock. And every time I'd hear that, I'd go, don't have it. Yeah, you do. No, don't.
No, don't.
And if I do, I'm going to turn your microphone off 14 seconds after you start.
So there is no report on what song he sang, but Mr. Jordan did not want to get off the stage. He wanted to do another song immediately.
That's not how that works.
It's not how that works. Everybody, we got a list. You want to go again, you get back in line, you put your name at the bottom of the list, and we'll get to you when you sober up, hopefully. Well, he refused. He was so PO'd about being told no that he could not sing a second consecutive song. Then he pulled out the machete in his pants. Okay, so you went to a bar.
With
you
a machete.
got drunk at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Sunday singing karaoke, and you had a machete in your pants. He pulled out the 18-inch blade, and he's waving it around, threatening people. Before the cops got there, his girlfriend was able to get him to give up the weapon peacefully. One of the bar members had to take the machete and hide it somewhere so he couldn't find it. And, of course, when the cops got there, everybody was freaking out. He told the cops that he had been threatened days prior, so he had to stay alert, quote unquote. So machete was the way you went. I guess this is not the most explosive weapon you could use, but okay. All right.
I really wish I could speak to the arresting officer here as somebody that did enough karaoke in my life. You give me 5 choices. I will guarantee you I can tell you what song he was going to sing. I will bet any amount that you want. Every problem I ever had came from somebody wanting to sing a handful of songs.
Give me the list.
Picture Kid Rock and Sheryl Crow.
No
That was
chance.
always, invariably, that was Billy Bob and Cheryl, and they didn't know each other before this night started, and one of them has some amorous plans for later, and his thought is that we're going to get up here and caterwaul this song, and this is going to be my Mariano Rivera closing moment.
I'm going to say that the guy with the teardrop tattoo was not going to sing that song.
You would think that. You'd be wrong, because I've seen at least 3 people with tattoos on their face that sing that song. No doubt. And spoiler alert, it's never good. Ever.
No.
It's never good, not nary a time.
Okay.
I bet I've heard it sung by 500 sets of people.
Okay, Picture?
Picture's a bad one. Another couple song that offers that, the Evanescence song, Wake Me Up Inside.
Oh,
yeah. I've heard
terrible.
that caterwauled. Strawberry Wine. I actually hear that song now, and I will break out in a full-on sweat of just, oh, God. Memories of... let's see. Don't Stop Believing. Whew. Whew. I have heard that song sang in a way that I'm not sure that Journey's not rolling over in their graves, and I'm pretty sure half of them are dead. Like, they hear, I think they probably have like a life alert bracelet that goes off of, oh, somebody's awfully singing our song now. Oh, and a 5th one. It's those 4 were predominant.
Mm-hmm.
There's another country song, and I can't for the life of me think of what it is. It'll come to me.
Okay. All right. Travis Jordan facing charges of breach of peace due to disorderly conduct.
Friends in Low Places. That's the one. Thank you, Stephen Towle. Yep. That's it's not the one I was thinking of, but that's the right answer.
I bet you Tennessee Whiskey's high on that list now.
Oh, yeah. Chris Stapleton, please stop putting up music. Or at least just stop stop giving it to karaoke people. I mean, I've sung that song, and okay.
Do you get to say no to that?
What?
Having a karaoke version of your song.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You can non-license those things. I mean, people will just go.
Pirate it, yeah.
Yeah. $5,000 a song. Just throwing that out there. My story is from Detroit, Michigan, and a man named Christian Catan Mansour. He, driving down the road, turned on his blue lights, pulled over a car.
Okay.
Gets out of the car, walks to the passenger side, and asks the young woman that was driving it for her license and registration. There's 2 huge problems with this story. There is a cop and there is a citizen involved in this story. The problem is that the citizen pulled over the cop with his illegal red lights. When the officer, who is not named in this story, said, so what precinct do you work out of? He said the 12th. She went, ironic, because so do I, and flipped her badge. At which point he ran back to his BMW, you moron, and got in it and drove to a trailer park. They lose sight of him, but somebody reports seeing the car go into the trailer park.
I was going to say, that's breaking news in a trailer park.
Oh, I have no fear.
Somebody in a BMW just pulled up.
I have no fear. I'm not done. They then found him taking the license plate off one BMW and putting it on another one he owned.
Okay.
And I'm not done. There's a lot of twists and turns in this story. At which point he ran into the woods. They followed him on foot and were able to detain him a short time later. He's 18 years old. He is 18 years old, lives in a trailer park, and has 2 BMWs.
Drug dealer.
I didn't say it. I merely thought
Gotta be.
I merely thought it. He was arrested and detained for impersonating a police officer. He was given a $5,000 bond and released, and will, at some point, face a judge for being one of the top 5 dumbest criminals I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
First of all, there's no cop on this planet that drives a BMW. Okay, the undercover car, it's not a BMW. And then the fact that you pulled over a cop, hilarious.
Instant karma.
Oh, yeah.
That's exactly what that is.
And I will bet you, as this man grows older, his career will not entail being a rocket surgeon. Because that boy appears to have a lack of brains in his head.
So who was it that once said, it was Rodney Carrington that once said that boy's going to have a job with his name on his shirt.
Bingo.
This is the Sportsocracy. It is ESPN Asheville. Take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have plenty of time to talk about the team needs, the draft needs for the Arizona Cardinals, who, man, as if the shakeup at the top of the draft comes that we talked about at the top of the 4 o'clock hour, they are sitting on a gold mine with that number 3 pick. We'll talk more up next.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Driving slow 240 eastbound between exit 3 and exit 4A. Future 26 eastbound slow between Riverside Drive and 240. 26 eastbound slowing between Brevard Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. 26 westbound stop and go between Airport Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. 40 westbound delays between the 26-240 split Malfunction Junction and George's Branch Road. Haywood County, 40 westbound crawling between exit 27 and US 276. Sweeten Creek Road, north and southbound, approaching Mills Gap Road is slow. Near Black Mountain, NC9, High Rock Road, near Lakey Gap Acres. An accident, shoulder closed. In McDowell County, NC 226, near NC 226 alternate, an accident has the roadway closed, a detour in place. I'm Lee Benfield with your Time Saver Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples Print and Marketing Services help small business print big. Now get $15 off signs, banners, and posters when you spend $75 or more. Offer ends 4/15. Visit staples.com/printbig for details. This is your sign to try Staples, where prints are perfect, guaranteed.
Cleaning the inside of your house is easy, but the outside is where most people need a little help. WNC Wash Pros are the highest rated exterior cleaning company in North Carolina with a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Whether you need your walkways pressure washed or the outside of the house scrubbed clean, we will kill all organic growth to preserve your paint and extend the life of your roof with our gentle and soft approach. Call us at 828-560-WASH or visit our website at WNCWashPros.com for a free estimate today.
Only iHeartRadio gives you access to all of your favorite radio stations.
It's Elliott in the morning.
Rover's Morning Glory.
Booker and Stryker.
All of the once-in-a-lifetime events.
Alter Ego, are you ready?
All of the best free curated playlists.
Nobody does it better.
All of the great podcasts for every interest.
This is Freddie Prinze Jr. from the Wrestling with Freddie podcast.
All of the mind-blowing contests.
$20,000.
Awesome.
All of your favorite superstars.
We're the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Best of all, it doesn't cost a thing. Listen on the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts.
The siren song of the sea beckons with a bounteous treasure and a desire that must be fulfilled.
At Ingles, our extensive seafood department offers a huge variety from your local catch to flavors from around the world. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Yeah!
Since man created roads, they've been looking for ways to get off-road and vehicles to take them there. That's where Outlaw Off-Road comes in. A premier off-road center for Jeeps, trucks, and SUVs with a complete lineup of off-road and overland services, including maintenance and repair to make your vehicle all that it can be. Check out their location right here in Western North Carolina at 85 Avery Creek Road. Call them today at 828-974-8480 or visit them on the web at theoutlawoffroad.com.
Tired of getting dinged by monthly fees on your checking account? You need Simple Checking from Home Trust Bank. With Simple Checking, you get all the essential checking services for free, including 100% online access and a free Visa debit card. It's everything you need from a checking account, but no hoops, no surprises, no monthly fees. Stop by today or call 800-627-1632. Simple Checking at Home Trust. Ready for what's next. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Real estate isn't about properties, it's about people. I'm Clarissa Hyatt-Zach with eXp Realty, your native realtor serving all of Western North Carolina. I will work hard for you, and I believe in doing the right thing every time. I market each of my listings to reach out-of-town buyers. I use a professional photographer and drone video on every single listing, as well as collaborate with agents across the country to find your buyer. Check me out online at clarissasellswnc.com or give me a call at 828-774-6343. It would be my pleasure to assist you through the real estate process.
The Sportsocracy.
Pull up your pants, take off the bra, and be a man.
Welcome back into the Ingles Studio. It is the Sportsocracy live on ESPN Asheville, and the team-by-team draft needs roll on here. The NFL draft coming up at the end of this month, and we will have every pick covered live on the YouTube stream all 3 days.
3 weeks from today.
Yes.
Oh, Draftmas tree, oh, Draftmas tree.
So today, let's talk about the Arizona Cardinals. What did they need in this NFL draft? Stephen Tao, loyal member of the House of Reprehensibles, has thrown out quarterback, coach, and J.J. Watt to unretire.
Control A, select all. They need everything. This is the worst roster in this league. It's not even close. And with all these stories about how dysfunctional this is, look, going into the coaching search, we thought it was Kyler Murray that was keeping coaches from really being interested in this. There are so many things going on in Arizona. It's kind of hard to wrap your brain around. It all started with that report card that the NFLPA put out. They don't even provide you lunch. You have to pay for the food that you get out of the building, and this place is a dumpster fire, and it all starts with the ownership group. Now, that being said, that third pick may end up being a gold mine. If Houston really is serious about taking Will Anderson at 2 and just bypassing quarterback for a year, and C.J. Stroud sitting on the board at 3, somebody will come off a king's ransom to get up there. Now, you saw what Chicago got for 1. If Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud sitting there at 3, somebody is coming up.
All right, because it can be seen as almost as good as the number 1 pick in the draft.
And, I mean, you just have a lack of talent with the Cardinals. I mean, outside of Budda Baker, there's not a really good player on the defense. Now, I do think there are pieces that Jonathan Gannon's going to be able to use that he will get more out of than – I mean, and I don't think Vance Joseph's a bad coach. I don't think it ever fit. And then you have this weird gimmicky offense with Kyler Murray, and you put the defense in bad situations because they turn the ball over, a lot of 3-and-outs. I just don't see this team looking that way. But if I'm Arizona, I'm drafting the best player available every time I come on the clock, which is why I said if I got stuck at 3, I'm taking Bijan Robinson. And is that positional value great? No. He's best player left if Will Anderson's gone.
Right.
Because, you've committed to Kyler Murray. He may miss half of the year. And there's just not a lot of high-level players on this team. DeAndre Hopkins, I don't know what you're going to do there. If he comes back, at least you've got weapons because you got Hollywood Brown, you got DeAndre Hopkins, you got Rondale Moore, and Zach Ertz. So I actually think offensively you would be able to move the ball. I find the Jonathan Gannon hire to be very strange with the combination of talent you have offensively. This is the reason you don't hire a coach like Cliff Kingsbury. Because you got all these players that fit for him, and now you've got to try to cobble this together for a year to put a coherent offense out on the field. We talked about this with TYREEK HIll. There's not a lot of call for 30-year-old receivers in this league. And look, DeAndre Hopkins is phenomenal. And somebody will come off a pick. I don't think it's as high of a pick as you want it to be. If it was, it would already have happened. But defensively, this team is bad, but bad. They have 8 picks in this draft. I would not be shocked if they went full Carolina Panthers and did not take an offensive player in the entire class.
Really?
I mean, I don't think it would be a bad idea. Name me a secondary worse in this league than the Arizona Cardinals have right now.
Well, as you said, you got Budda Baker, end message, repeat the line.
I mean, your corners right now are Marco Wilson and Rashad Fenton, who had a good year. I mean, the 4 years of his career, he's had one good year, and it was not as a no-doubt one. And so I feel like every player on this team, you don't have anybody that gets after the quarterback particularly well. You haven't drafted well. I mean, the Zaven Collins thing has been – I'll be nice and say it hasn't gone the way you wanted it to. I really want to say it's been an absolute abject disaster. Isaiah Simmons. I don't even know what position he plays at this point. I mean, is he a slot corner? Is he a safety? I don't know.
Yeah.
But hopefully Jonathan Gannon can get the most of those 2 players. I guess it will be at linebacker. And it gives you one of the fastest linebacker cores in the league.
Mm-hmm.
But the front four is not good.
He rotates. I mean, that's the thing about Isaiah Simmons is he rotates. I mean, you look at the official depth chart. He's listed as both a safety and a linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
Which, in these days, you want to be, quote-unquote, multiple with
and
your
I
defense.
get that. I mean,
fine.
I think having a coach like Jonathan Gannon that I've seen get the most out of players is going to help. But you just have a serious lack of talent on the defense.
Mm-hmm. And how do you do that? How do you make that better? Well, you use that number 3 pick on Will Anderson, and if you don't get that opportunity,
I don't agree with you.
Really,
I think the best thing that could happen to the Arizona Cardinals is that Will Anderson goes at 2, because then it forces you to trade down and get capital for future years. Because I got news for you: there's nobody in this class that you're going to draft that's going to fix this defense. You put Will Anderson on this, guess what? I'm just going to double team him because he's the only player on this defense that I have any fear of getting anywhere near my quarterback.
Mm-hmm. But you got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
You start with the building block.
But see, for me, I want the building block for me is the draft capital, because you're all right. Let's say you move down to 11. All right, I'm still going to get Joey Porter Jr. or Devin Witherspoon, or I'm trying to think of players that will fall in line there.
I was going to say that it feels like that makes the most sense.
Well, here's the question: which would you rather have, Will Anderson and nothing, or Devin Witherspoon and a future 1 and 2?
Oh, I'll go the latter.
And to me, it's not close.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you're going to get intoxicated into taking Will Anderson if you stay there, but that's not the best case scenario for you. You need to hope that Monty Ossenfort brought some intelligent scouts with him, and your draft record gets better over time. But, I mean, I would argue, and I don't really know that there's one close, this is the least talented roster in the league.
More than Houston.
I would rather have Houston's talent. In terms of young players, there are more young players on the Houston Texans roster that I feel like are going to be building block pieces than the Arizona Cardinals have.
Okay.
Derek Stingley, Jalen Petrie. You tell me what the Cardinals have that's – I've got a 4'7" quarterback that's coming off an ACL injury, a 30-year-old receiver that's probably the most talented player on your team, a 5'9" slot guy, and a 5'9" outside receiver who beats fast real good, and that's all he does.
Mm-hmm. And Buda Baker.
I mean, your high water mark on defense is a strong safety. Awesome. I mean, and I like the guy. Don't get me wrong. It's just I'm looking at the other 10 going, this is not an NFL roster. I mean, there is not a building block piece, I don't believe, on the entire roster defensively.
Yeah. Tyler Cunningham in the YouTube comment says, want to know why the scouting is so bad in Arizona? Just to ask how much they pay.
Oh, 100%. I mean, that's the problem with Arizona. The problems with Arizona start at the ownership level, and it just – there's the old saying of excrement rolls downhill.
Mm-hmm.
It's the problem with Arizona. I mean, the Bidwell family is not an NFL ownership group. They don't have the money. They don't put the money into it. You've had some runs of success that really put lipstick on the pig. But, I mean, if you don't know what I'm talking about, Google it.
Yep.
There's a lot going on there. And, I mean, I feel bad for the fan base. I really do. It would be hard for me. Now, knowing what I know about what goes on inside that building, it would be hard for me to give my money to it.
I would agree.
I mean, to me, there's a difference between the Jets, who have one of the most wealthy owners in the league, and he pours a ton of money into this team. I go back to the Lions in the late 90s, early 2000s. It would be hard for me to give money to that. Because for you, this is a financial investment, and you really don't seem to care about the product on the field or the people in the building.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I feel bad for Cardinals fans. I want it to get better. You got a long road to hoe.
The best path forward for Arizona may very well be just trading off that number 3 pick. If it happens to be that one of the quarterbacks is still there, whether it be Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud, you can get a lot for that and fill in these holes and hammer the defensive side of the ball in the 2023 NFL Draft, which we will cover every pick live right here in the Sportsocracy. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can join us for that, because they will not allow us to do our draft coverage on FCC-controlled airways.
Nope, because there's way too many words that would get us in trouble.
Indeed. We'll be back with you tomorrow at 3 right here in the Ingles studio on ESPN Asheville.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
Big change up to the weather scene for the next couple of days. We've been so warm here midweek, but northeast winds off the Atlantic drop the temperatures starting tomorrow. Some 1.5 inch rains for the valley Friday and Saturday as cold northeast winds take over for Easter weekend. We're in the mid-50s for tonight. Some thunderstorms rumbling around. Rain showers Friday, cooler, high 58, low 40. I'm meteorologist Scott Larimore. That's the latest Weather Channel forecast.
This is your time saver traffic on the new ESPN Asheville.
Traffic is slow, 26 westbound between Airport Road and the Blue Ridge Parkway. 40 westbound slow between the Smoky Park Highway and George's Branch Road. 40 westbound in Haywood County crawling between exit 27 and US 276. Near Avery Creek, Boulevard Road north and southbound near Long Shoals Road is slow. In McDowell County, northwest of Woodlawn, NC 226 near NC 226 alternate. An accident has the roadway closed, a detour in place. I'm Lee Benfield with your time saver traffic.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell. The double steak grilled cheese burrito is now at Taco Bell. 2 servings of grilled marinated steak and a melty 3-cheese layer inside, plus grilled bubbly cheese on the outside. At participating Taco Bell stores for a limited time only while supplies last. Contact local stores for prices, hours, and participation which vary. Tax extra.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
That dog does not want to be petted.
Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview,